This slap was more than twice as hard as the last one. Yi Chen fell heavily to the ground, spitting out another mouthful of blood, unable to get up for a long time. This is the so-called proud and noble status. You keep calling me trash, but you can't even withstand one palm from me. If I'm trash, what are you? Qin Chen said lightly. These words were even harsher than the previous slap, hitting Yi Chen's heart hard and making him feel ashamed and indignant. Moreover, not only Yi Chen, but also those young people who came with Yi Chen, all seemed to have been slapped in the face, their expressions extremely ugly. Young Master Chen, you are too reckless. Seeing Yi Chen lying on the ground in such a mess, Xiao Ya shook her head bitterly. Qin Chen came here this time to ask the Pill Pavilion for help. Now that he has done this, how could the Pill Pavilion still help him? Forget it. Qin Chen, let's not go see my master. You've caused such a big commotion in the Pill Pavilion now. With the status of Yi Chen's master, he will definitely not let you go. Let's leave quickly, Xiao Ya said anxiously. Want to leave? It's not that easy. Come on, arrest this kid for me. Causing trouble in my Pill Pavilion, is there no law? A roar was heard, and Yi Chen and those young people looked at Qin Chen angrily and shouted loudly, but they did not step forward, just staring at Qin Chen with resentment. The commotion in the hall had already spread. A series of footsteps were heard, and a middle-aged man led a group of guards and rushed into the hall. At the same time, a refined old man in a steward's robe walked quickly down from the upper floor of the hall. Among the guards, the leading middle-aged man was wearing armor and had a heroic appearance. He exuded a terrifying aura of swiftness and decisiveness, clearly a martial venerable of the early 6th rank. And the refined old man in the steward's robe, although he did not exude any fierce aura, stood with the captain of the guard without showing any weakness. He was also a 6th rank martial venerable. Seeing the scene in the hall, the two of them were shocked at the same time. The captain of the guard hurriedly stepped forward to help Yi Chen up and said in surprise and anger, "What's going on?" Yi Chen is the second disciple of Elder Jin Yuan of the Pill Pavilion, and also one of the top geniuses of the Imperial City Pill Pavilion, with a noble status. Now, someone is actually attacking the alchemists of their Pill Pavilion in the Pill Pavilion. How could he, whose job is to protect the Pill Pavilion, not be shocked and angry? In fact, he was not in the hall before, and Yi Chen was injured, which was his dereliction of duty. And the refined steward also had a look of shock and anger on his face. Steward Gu Zun, Captain Li Feng, that kid did it. Several of Yi Chen's subordinates pointed to Qin Chen and said ferociously. Following the fingers of the few people, the two looked at Qin Chen and were all shocked. Young. Too young. They originally thought that the one who attacked Yi Chen and the others would be some reckless Imperial City martial artist, but they did not expect that it would be such a young teenager. And after seeing Xiao Ya beside Qin Chen, the two of them were stunned again, and immediately understood that things were definitely not as simple as they imagined. Xiao Ya, what's going on? Gu Zun frowned and said. He is one of the stewards in charge of the Pill Pavilion. The so-called steward in charge is the steward who manages the daily transactions and order of the Pill Pavilion. Although he is not as high in rank as the elders, his status is not much weaker. After all, many elders of the Pill Pavilion are high-level alchemists who devote themselves to refining pills and rarely manage the daily affairs of the Pill Pavilion. Steward Gu Zun, why are you still talking nonsense with them? This person attacked me and the others in the Pill Pavilion, clearly not taking my Pill Pavilion seriously. Why don't you arrest him first? Yi Chen said through gritted teeth. Steward Gu Zun, things are not like this. Please listen to my explanation. Xiao Ya's face changed and she hurriedly said. If Steward Gu Zun is really going to attack Qin Chen, then things will be troublesome. With Qin Chen's temper, how could he be willing to be captured? A conflict will inevitably occur. By then, even her master will not be able to solve it. Xiao Ya, no matter what the reason for this matter is, this son dares to cause trouble in my Pill Pavilion and injure Yi Chen and the others. His crime is unforgivable. Li Feng, take this son down first. Arrested in the law enforcement hall, interrogation. The old man looked at Qin Chen and said coldly, causing Qin Chen's eyes to narrow slightly. He, Qin Chen, caused trouble. It seems that from beginning to end, he was involuntarily forced to take action, right? In my pill pavilion, bullying my pill pavilion disciples, are you humiliating my pill pavilion as if there is no one here? The old man saw that Qin Chen did not speak, and spoke again, his voice icy cold. All the customers on the field were stunned for a moment, and then shook their heads. This son is so young, yet he has such cultivation. It is really rare. It is a pity that he dared to cause trouble in the pill pavilion. I am afraid that his end will be very miserable. Xiao Ya was anxious in her heart. If Qin Chen is really detained in the law enforcement hall, will there be good results? With the status of Elder Jin Yuan, even if Qin Chen is innocent, I am afraid that he will be convicted. Ha ha ha. Just as those guards rushed up and were about to capture Qin Chen suddenly sneered. The so-called pill pavilion is so ignorant of right and wrong. It is clear that this Yi Chen is acting recklessly, but as soon as you come up, you want to interrogate me. I want to ask you, how do you, as the steward in charge, manage the pill pavilion? If you don't give me an explanation today, I will definitely go to the Pill Pavilion headquarters in the Northern Heaven region to complain about your Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion's reckless and lawless actions and abolish this branch. As soon as Qin Chen said this, the old man's face suddenly changed. Stop it! He shouted coldly, stopping Li Feng and the others from capturing Qin Chen, and then stared at Qin Chen coldly and said in a cold voice, abolish my Pill Pavilion branch. You have such a big tone. You injured my Pill Pavilion disciple in my Pill Pavilion. Your crime is unforgivable. No matter where you complain, it's useless. Is that so? Qin Chen sneered. You should first ask the kid next to you. Just now, was it him who insulted me first, saying that I was trash, and wanted to drive me away before I took action? So what? Yi Chen snorted coldly. Steward Guzan, this person is a disciple of the 5 nations brought by Xiao Ya. He must be wanting my Pill Pavilion to protect him again, just like last time. My Pill Pavilion has never interfered in the affairs of various forces. This son has ulterior motives. It shouldn't be a problem for the disciple to drive him away, but he directly took action, clearly not taking my Pill Pavilion seriously. So that's how it is. Guzan instantly understood the ins and outs of the matter and looked at Qin Chen coldly. If what Yi Chen said is true, then it is normal for him to drive you away. My Pill Pavilion can welcome anyone to come here, but you can leave, but you violated the rules of my Pill Pavilion by taking action. It seems that today, you must go to the law enforcement hall once. Qin Chen sneered. If I were an ordinary martial artist and this person was an alchemist of the Pill Pavilion, he would naturally be qualified to drive me away, but I am also an alchemist. According to Article 21 of the 5th section of the Pill Pavilion Headquarters Rules of the Martial Domain, what kind of punishment should this person receive for daring to insult me, who is also an alchemist? Qin Chen sneered again and again, his expression fearless. What? You are also an alchemist? Hearing this, Guzan was instantly stunned, his brow furrowed, and his face was ugly. You are also an alchemist. Guzan looked at Qin Chen indifferently, a trace of strangeness flashing in his eyes. Although his tone was still cold, everyone clearly felt that Guzan's tone had changed slightly. A 3rd-grade alchemist certified by the Pill Pavilion, genuine. Qin Chen took out a token from his body. On this token, a pill furnace was engraved. Around the pill furnace, there were 3 silver lines, representing the identity of a 3rd-grade alchemist. This token was precisely the 3rd-grade alchemist badge that Xiao Ya had applied for Qin Chen at the Pill Pavilion of the Great Qi Kingdom. A 3rd-grade alchemist badge. The customers who came to the Pill Pavilion were all knowledgeable people and couldn't help but exclaim in a low voice. Qin Chen was so young, yet he was a 3rd-grade alchemist, which surprised and shocked everyone. It should be known that although a 3rd-grade alchemist was not considered high-level, Qin Chen was too young after all. Many alchemy apprentices had not even entered the 1st-grade alchemist level at Qin Chen's age. However, Yi Chen looked at the token in Qin Chen's hand and sneered, it's just a 3rd-grade alchemist badge, what treasure do you think it is? Qin Chen was recommended by Xiao Ya to the Pill Pavilion of the Dewey Dynasty to participate in the 100 Dynasties competition. It was normal for him to be a 3rd-grade alchemist. It is indeed not a treasure, but according to the regulations of the Pill Pavilion headquarters, pill pavilions in various places are places for many alchemists to communicate, verify, and trade with each other. As an alchemist, you insulted this young master and drove this young master away. It is natural for this young master to teach you a lesson. Qin Chen said with a sneer, and then looked at Guzan. Steward Guzan, as the steward of the Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion, you have the right to maintain the order of the Pill Pavilion. Now this person insults this young master so much, everyone present can see it clearly. Should you give me an explanation? Explanation. What explanation do you want? I am a 4th grade alchemist, and you are just a 3rd grade alchemist. It is a matter of course for me to teach you a lesson and drive you away, Yi Chen said angrily. In his opinion, even if they were both alchemists, it was normal for him to teach Qin Chen a lesson. Qin Chen narrowed his eyes slightly, sneering in his heart. Are these people so domineering because they think they were born better, killing whoever they want, driving away whoever they want, brooking no argument? In front of them, no matter how strong your strength is or how high your talent is, as long as you come from a low-level force, you are trash, lowly people, and waste. Qin Chen didn't even have the desire to talk to such people, he just looked at Guzan with a sneer. Steward Guzan, is this the level of your Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion? According to the regulations of the Pill Pavilion headquarters, although there are high and low ranks among alchemists, there is no distinction between noble and lowly. Everyone is an alchemist, so where does matter of course come from? If Steward Guzan also thinks so, then this young master will definitely write to the North Heaven Region Pill Pavilion branch, or even the Martial Domain Pill Pavilion headquarters, to ban the Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion. Qin Chen's voice was sharp. These words made everyone on the field freeze. This son was so mad, threatening to ban the Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion branch at every turn. What a big tone. He didn't look like someone from a remote place like the 5 Nations. Hey, with you are also qualified to write to the Pill Pavilion headquarters and the North Heaven Region branch. Yi Chen sneered. Qin Chen was just a disciple from the 5 Nations, a troublemakers from a remote place. He probably didn't even know which way the North Heaven Region branch was facing. Qin Chen glanced at Yi Chen coldly, completely ignoring him, and only sneered at Guzan. As far as I know, in addition to the Law Enforcement Hall, the Pill Pavilion's upper echelons also have a supervision department, which specializes in checking whether pill pavilions all over the world have any violations. The supervision department can accept real name and anonymous complaints and is directly under the jurisdiction of the Pill Pavilion headquarters. Anyone can file a complaint, and local pill pavilions have no right to intercept or manage it. This person doesn't know, but you, as the steward, shouldn't be unaware of this. Hearing this, Xiao Ya and the other alchemists on the field looked at Qin Chen in astonishment. Supervision department. Does the Pill Pavilion have this department? One by one, their faces showed doubt. It should be known that they had been in the Pill Pavilion for so long, but they had never heard of the existence of this department. However, Qin Chen was expressionless and looked at Guzan indifferently. The supervision department was a department that the Pill Pavilion had just established before he fell in his previous life. The main reason was that the local pill pavilions had too much authority and often violated regulations by participating in the struggles of various local forces, which caused the pill pavilion's reputation to be extremely poor at the time. That's why it was specially established to supervise the violations of the major pill pavilions below. Now that 300 years have passed, Qin Chen doesn't know whether the supervision department still exists, but he guesses that the supervision department was not established for long, so it shouldn't be abolished so quickly. Xiao Ya and the others didn't know, but Guzan, the steward, should know. Steward Guzan, I wonder how you plan to handle this matter now. Qin Chen looked at Guzan indifferently and said with a sneer. Hearing Qin Chen's question, Guzan's face turned unsightly. Right now, he couldn't care less about where Qin Chen got the information about the supervision department, but was worried whether Qin Chen would really complain to the supervision department. Once a complaint was filed, if the supervision department sent someone down to verify it, then things would be very troublesome. After all, the Pill Pavilion, in the local area, would definitely interact with various major forces, and inevitably there would be some violations. In addition, He knew the whole story of this matter, and it was indeed Yi Chen who insulted people first. If the supervision department verified it, the pavilion master might be fine, but he, the pavilion manager present, would probably be dismissed in minutes. In the eyes of those people in the supervision department, his little pavilion manager was probably not even an ant, and crushing him would be like crushing an ant, not worth mentioning. For such a trivial matter to lead to such consequences, Gu Zun felt it was not worth it just thinking about it. Hee, you're joking, sir. Such a small matter, why bother the supervision department? Don't worry, sir. If I verify that this matter is as you said, I will definitely give you justice, and I won't wrong a good person, nor will I wrongly accuse a sinner. After his expression changed several times, Gu Zun finally said with a smile. Hearing this, everyone present almost fell over, looking at Gu Zun in shock. Xiao Ya's eyes were even bulging out. The meaning of Gu Zun's words was too obvious. He clearly didn't want to pursue Qin Chen's responsibility at all. This left everyone dumbfounded, their heads spinning. Manager Gu Zun, how can you? Yi Chen couldn't help but speak anxiously. I told you to shut up, didn't you hear me? Gu Zun looked at Yi Chen coldly, and then waved to the surrounding people. Disperse, disperse, there's nothing to see here. Although the captain of the guard, Li Feng, didn't understand the situation, since Gu Zun had spoken, he immediately drove away the surrounding onlookers. Okay, then I'll wait for manager Gu Zun to seek justice for me, Qin Chen said lightly. He didn't expect Gu Zun to teach Yi Chen a lesson for him. The other party was just being polite. Xiao Ya, let's go. Turning his head and saying a word to Xiao Ya, Qin Chen strode towards the interior of the pill pavilion. Yi Chen, don't cause trouble for me. Gu Zun glanced at Yi Chen, who was indignant and unwilling, warned him, and then turned and left. He wasn't planning to get involved in this matter. That hateful brat, damn it. I don't know what's wrong with manager Gu Zun, did he take the wrong medicine? He actually let this kid go, Yi Chen thought angrily, feeling a burning sensation on his face, and was extremely resentful. Brother Yi Chen, what do we do now? Several young people around Yi Chen also gathered around, each with a very unsightly expression. HMPH, that kid hit someone and still wants to be safe and sound, how can it be so easy? Manager Gu Zun is afraid of trouble and doesn't want to care, we'll go find master. I don't believe that a disciple from the 5 nations, even if he's a pharmacist, can run wild in my pill pavilion. Yi Chen said resentfully. Okay, let's go find master. Go. I don't believe our master won't stand up for us. These young people all became excited, each like they had been injected with chicken blood, and went to find their respective masters. Master has always wanted to bring down Elder Zhu Bo. Now that Xiao Ya has brought that pharmacist from the 5 nations, she must want Elder Zhu Bo to protect him. Master will definitely be very interested in this news, and maybe he can take this opportunity to completely bring down Elder Zhu Bo. Yi Chen also became excited in his heart. Master should be at the pill shop at this time. I'll tell Master right away and let Master stand up for me. Maybe senior brother is also very interested in that kid. In his excitement, Yi Chen even left the pill pavilion to find his master, Elder Jin Yuan. Xiao Ya, what exactly is the situation in your pill pavilion now? Who are the people in power? On the way, Qin Chen asked in a deep voice. He originally didn't want to intervene in the pill pavilion's disputes, he just wanted to borrow the pill pavilion's influence, but he didn't expect that as soon as he came, he would offend Yi Chen, a disciple of Elder Jin Yuan. And looking at the situation, Xiao Ya and the other's situation was obviously extremely bad. With Yi Chen's character, it would be strange if he was willing to let the previous matter rest. Now he must be thinking of ways to deal with himself. Although Qin Chen doesn't care about his little tricks, he can't afford to make any mistakes at this critical moment. On the way, Xiao Ya's expression was also very solemn. Qin Chen, I'm sorry, I didn't expect you to encounter Yi Chen as soon as you came. I believe you've also seen the situation on my master's side. It's very complicated now. Although my master's position in the pill pavilion was not low before, and could even be said to be in power, he also offended many people because of this, especially Elder Jin Yuan, who was at odds with my master. He used to be suppressed by my master, but now that my master is ill, he immediately emerged, and even used the competition quota to attack my master. Now the situation on my master's side is indeed very bad. Now that things had come to this, Xiao Ya had nothing to hide, and told him their situation in detail. After speaking, Xiao Ya said bitterly, Qin Chen, I advise you to leave the Pill Pavilion as soon as possible. That Yi Chen is not someone to be trifled with. Now that Elder Jin Yuan is in power, his disciples are also very arrogant. The most important thing is that Elder Jin Yuan has already won over several other elders in power. It can be said that Elder Jin Yuan now controls nearly half of the resources in the Pill Pavilion. Once he learns of the news here, he will definitely find trouble for you. At that time, it won't be as easy to solve as Manager Gu Zun. Qin Chen didn't expect that the situation of Xiao Ya and her lineage was so critical. Don't worry, if that Jin Yuan wants to find trouble for me, he has to see if he has the ability. Tell me first, who are the people in power in the Pill Pavilion? What about your Pill Pavilion's master? All along, Qin Chen had never heard Xiao Ya mention their Pill Pavilion's master, which made Qin Chen quite puzzled. Xiao Ya smiled bitterly, the pavilion master, he is a very good person. He is a 6th grade peak pharmacist, and can be said to be the strongest pharmacist in our Pill Pavilion, even the Dewey dynasty. He is also the person with the most power in our Pill Pavilion, but the pavilion master doesn't like to fight for power and gain, and he was also sent to the 100 dynasties. He once came from a large branch of the Pill Pavilion, and seemed to have made some mistake, and was sent here. These years, he has been painstakingly studying pharmacy knowledge, and wholeheartedly wants to break through the Medicine King realm, so that he can return to his original power, so he is not saddened by the management of the Pill Pavilion, and rarely manages the specific affairs of the Pill Pavilion, and has not appointed a vice pavilion master. Speaking of this, Xiao Ya sighed. Because of this, the internal affairs of the Pill Pavilion are relatively chaotic. Many elders want to control some power and gain some benefits, which leads to a lot of infighting in the Pill Pavilion, but mainly, it is still my master's faction and Elder Jin Yuan's faction. Speaking of which, Xiao Ya paused for a moment and continued, besides that, there are also several elders who, while not as powerful as Master and Elder Jin Yuan, still wield some real power and are people that both Master and Elder Jin Yuan want to win over. In the past, when Master was well, the vast majority of those elders supported Master. This was also why Senior Brother was so confident in getting us to participate in the 100 Dynasties competition. However, after Master fell ill and Elder Jin Yuan gained power, 2 of those elders have now sided with Elder Jin Yuan. Otherwise, Master's current situation wouldn't be so dire, and even Senior Brother wouldn't have been placed under house arrest. Xiao Ya's face was extremely unsightly. The fact that Senior Brother was placed under house arrest was something she wouldn't have dared to imagine when Master was in power. Qin Chen remained silent. It seemed that the situation in the Pill Pavilion was even worse than he had imagined. With so many people scheming against each other, vying for power and profit, it would be strange if the Pill Pavilion could become strong. We're here. Just as Qin Chen was pondering, Xiao Ya suddenly spoke. Raising his head, Qin Chen saw that what appeared before him was a refining room of the Pill Pavilion, the kind that was clearly quite high-end. Master is a person who is focused on researching alchemy, so he has always lived in the Pill Pavilion's refining room. He doesn't even have a dedicated residence in the Imperial City. These days, after falling ill, he has also been staying here, with only a few of us disciples taking care of him. As Xiao Ya spoke, her tone was filled with bitterness. Qin Chen nodded. In his previous life, he had been to the Pill Pavilion too many times. Many alchemists focused on researching alchemy, and they almost lived and ate in the Pill Pavilion. And elders like Zhu Bo had specialized high-end refining rooms provided to them in the Pill Pavilion. These refining rooms, in addition to the refining area, also had rest areas, meeting rooms, and even living rooms, to facilitate the elders' focus on alchemy. Many elders who were dedicated to refining would live here. However, it was still extremely rare for an elder like Zhu Bo, who was now ill, to still live in the Pill Pavilion and have almost no residence of his own. Xiao Ya, why are you here? You are not welcome here. Just as Xiao Ya led Qin Chen into the refining room, a young man suddenly walked out from within. Seeing Xiao Ya, his face immediately turned extremely ugly, and he said in a cold voice. Second senior brother, Xiao Ya said awkwardly, I've come to see Master. See Master. The young man's eyes were filled with anger as he said, how dare you come to see Master? If you hadn't insisted on recommending some person from the 5 nations to represent our pill pavilion in the 100 Dynasties competition, how could Master have angered so many elders? Leading to our current situation being so bad, and now even senior brother has been locked up. What else do you want to do? You are not welcome here, go back. The young man's tone was icy cold, and he was almost pushing Xiao Ya out. Xiao Ya's recommendation of Qin Chen had caused Zhu Bo a lot of trouble. After all, in the minds of the vast majority of alchemists in the Dewei dynasty, they disdained the alchemists of the 5 nations. The pill pavilions of those 5 nations were only branches of the Dewei dynasty's pill pavilion. Even someone like Xiao Ya, a disciple of an elder, could serve as the pavilion master of a nation, which showed how low their status was. Therefore, when Zhu Bo believed Xiao Ya and strongly recommended Qin Chen, he offended many people in the pill pavilion. After all, a spot involved the interests of many people. When Zhu Bo was powerful, it was nothing, but once he fell ill, he attracted the attacks of many people. Among them, many of Zhu Bo's subordinates blamed Xiao Ya for this, such as this second senior brother Wang Zheng. Xiao Ya's face showed shame, and she said bitterly, Second senior brother, I know that Master is like this now, and it has a lot to do with me, but we have come to find Master this time because we really have important matters. Please, second senior brother, be accommodating and let me see Master. Despite second senior brother's attitude, Xiao Ya still pleaded. She knew what Qin Chen's purpose was in seeing her master, which was definitely to seek protection. If they couldn't see Master today, Qin Chen and the others would definitely encounter great risks in the imperial city. Important matters. What important matters could you have? Wang Zheng glanced at Xiao Ya with disdain and waved his hand, saying, hurry up and go back. That gesture was like waving away a disgusting fly. As Wang Zheng waved his sleeves, a faint fragrance drifted into Qin Chen's nose, and he immediately frowned. Hurry up and leave, don't stand here. No matter what, I won't let you see Master today, Wang Zheng said resolutely. What's going on? Wang Zheng, didn't I ask you to prepare some hot water? What are you shouting and yelling about at the door? Just as Xiao Ya was at a loss, a steady voice suddenly rang out, followed by a middle-aged man walking out of the refining room. This middle-aged man had a condensed but unreleased aura, giving people an extremely sharp feeling. He was actually a martial venerable of the early 6th rank, and the kind of powerful martial venerable who could only form this kind of aura after experiencing life and death and a lot of battles. Senior Zhu Zheng, it's me, wanting to see Master. Seeing the middle-aged man, a hint of surprise immediately appeared on Xiao Ya's face, and she hurriedly spoke. Xiao Ya, why are you here? A trace of surprise appeared on the middle-aged man's face, and then he glanced at the atmosphere between Wang Zheng and Xiao Ya, and immediately understood what had just happened. Wang Zheng, hurry up and prepare the hot water, Zhu Zheng waved his hand and said. Wang Zheng immediately said anxiously, Senior Zhu Zheng, Master has become like this because of Xiao Ya, you. All right, I know, hurry up and prepare the hot water, I'll take care of things here. Zhu Zheng waved his hand. Wang Zheng coldly glanced at Xiao Ya before turning around and leaving resentfully. Xiao Ya, if you're just here to see your master, then there's no need. His current condition is not good and he needs to rest. If there's anything, you can tell me, and if I can help, I will. If I can't help, there's nothing I can do. Zhu Zheng glanced at Qin Chen and said to Xiao Ya indifferently. Senior Zhu Zheng, it's like this. This is Qin Chen, the one I recommended to Master before. Cough cough. Just as Xiao Ya was about to say what happened, a burst of violent coughing suddenly came from the refining room. Zhu Zheng's face changed, and he hurriedly rushed inside. It's Master, Xiao Ya exclaimed and also hurried inside. Qin Chen also followed behind Xiao Ya and slowly walked into the refining room, first taking a simple look before entering the living room on the inside of the refining room. He saw an old man with a black face lying painfully on the bed, coughing violently, spitting out several mouthfuls of black blood, his aura weakening, as if he could fall at any time. Beside him, Zhu Zheng nervously supported the old man, while Xiao Ya stood aside in tears. The entire living room was filled with a strong smell of medicine. Qin Chen looked at the black blood that the old man had spat out, and his brows immediately furrowed deeply as he quickly walked forward. Qin Chen stepped forward, first looking around the living room, then picking up some items and carefully examining them. Finally, he went to the old man's side and reached out to grab his shoulder. "What are you doing? Who let you in? Get out!" Seeing Qin Chen's rash action, Zhu Zheng's face immediately darkened, and he waved his hand to drive Qin Chen out. Xiao Ya was also stunned and hurriedly said, "Qin Chen, what are you doing?" Ignoring the two's exclamations, Qin Chen instantly grabbed the old man's shoulder with his left hand, while his right hand suddenly raised, blocking in front of him. Bang! Zhu Zheng's palm heavily pushed on Qin Chen's right hand, only feeling a huge force coming. Qin Chen, who he thought would be easily pushed away, didn't move at all. On the contrary, he almost lost his balance under this force, which shocked Zhu Zheng greatly. Although he hadn't used his full strength in that palm, it was enough to push away a late-stage martial sect at the 5th level, but this young man didn't move at all. How could he not be shocked? But after the shock, a trace of anger immediately appeared on Zhu Zheng's face. "Boy! What are you doing? Let go of me!" Zhu Zheng shouted angrily. This time, the power in his hand was even greater, and the true essence in his body flowed. The power of a martial venerable level was revealed, and he was obviously serious. "I'm healing him. If you don't want him to die, then stop." Qin Chen glanced at Zhu Zheng coldly, a cold light suddenly shooting out from his eyes. His eyes were cold and sharp, like a sharp blade, with a power that seemed to move people's hearts. Coupled with his deep voice, for some reason, Zhu Zheng's heart trembled, and the movement in his hand stopped. "Xiao Ya, who exactly did you bring here?" Turning his head, Zhu Zheng looked at Xiao Ya, his whole body still tense, without the slightest relaxation, like a cheetah ready to pounce, ready to launch a thunderous strike at any time. Xiao Ya was completely stunned at this time. It wasn't until Zhu Zheng spoke coldly that she instantly woke up and hurriedly said, "He is Qin Chen, the five-nation genius alchemist I recommended to master. I don't know why he is like this." Five-nation alchemist. Zhu Zheng frowned, looking at Qin Chen coldly. Before he could speak, with a wah sound, the old man spat out another mouthful of black blood, and the whole person fainted. "Master!" Xiao Ya exclaimed immediately. "Boy! What did you do to my big brother?" Zhu Zheng's face instantly became extremely ugly, regretting in his heart that he had actually stopped just now. Boom! A terrifying aura filled out from his body, carrying endless killing intent, about to strike Qin Chen with thunderous force. It could be seen that Zhu Zheng was completely moved to kill at this time. The aura on his body was more than twice as terrifying as before, and the rich true essence condensed in his hands, obviously wanting to kill Qin Chen with a thunderous strike. "Don't be anxious, take a look at your big brother first." Qin Chen withdrew his hand and retreated to the side, expressionless, and said coldly, "Boy! Don't think about deceiving me again." Zhu Zheng roared angrily. At this time, he didn't believe any of Qin Chen's words at all, and slapped Qin Chen angrily. At the moment when his palm was about to land on the top of Qin Chen's head, he subconsciously glanced at the old man. With this look, he was immediately stunned. He saw that the old man's originally black face had actually become a little rosy. At the same time, although he had fainted, his breathing was more powerful and long, and his life force was also more intense. These days, he had been taking care of Zhu Bo here, knowing how bad Zhu Bo's condition was. His illness had been constantly deteriorating, but now it seemed that Zhu Bo's condition was obviously much better than before, and he even had a feeling of rekindling his life force. Could it be that this kid is really healing Big Brother? Under the shock, Zhu Zheng's palm had already reached the top of Qin Chen's head. Not good. Zhu Zheng was shocked in his heart and hurriedly wanted to withdraw his hand, but it was already too late. Bang! Only hearing a shocking roar, Zhu Zheng only felt that his palm had hit a very hard iron wall, and his palm was aching. At the same time, A terrifying force spread out, instantly smashing the living room into a mess. You're okay. Zhu Zheng looked at Qin Chen standing there without moving in shock, with an extremely shocked expression on his face. His palm could smash even a huge rock into powder, but that young man was unscathed. Did you want something to happen to me? Qin Chen chuckled. Even Feng Yuan, a mid-stage 6th level martial venerable, could be killed by him. Although this Zhu Zheng was strong, it would still be a bit difficult to kill him with one palm. After the shock, Zhu Zheng ignored Qin Chen and instantly came to Zhu Bo's side, with an extremely shocked expression on his face. This time, he truly felt that Zhu Bo's condition was indeed much better than before, and various life indicators in his body had recovered a lot. How could this be? Who exactly are you? Zhu Zheng turned his head to look at Qin Chen in shock. These days, he had thought of ways to treat his big brother's illness. He didn't know how many doctors he had found, and they were all famous doctors in the imperial city. What's more, Zhu Bo himself was an elder of the Pill Pavilion. Treating people and curing diseases was his profession. He had also tried his best to treat his own body. Many high-level alchemists from the Pill Pavilion had also come to help treat him, but they were all helpless against Zhu Bo's strange illness. They couldn't even figure out what illness Zhu Bo had. During this period, Zhu Bo's condition became more and more serious, and it seemed that he would not last for a few days. But now, a young man suddenly came and put his hand on Zhu Bo's shoulder, and his condition instantly improved a lot. How could Zhu Zheng not be shocked? I am an alchemist. Xiao Ya should have already introduced me just now, right? Qin Chen smiled lightly. Zhu Zheng was stunned. Xiao Ya had indeed said earlier that Qin Chen was the five-nation alchemist she recommended to Zhu Bo. Could it be that alchemist who Xiao Ya and Mu Lengqing jointly recommended, preparing to represent the Dewei dynasty's Pill Pavilion in the Pill Pavilion's 100 Dynasties competition? Zhu Zheng was completely stunned. He had a very good relationship with his big brother Zhu Bo, so he had naturally heard about Qin Chen's matter, but he didn't expect him to be such a young boy. Just at this moment, Wang Jung walked in hurriedly with hot water. Senior Zhu Zheng, what happened here? Hearing the loud noise just now, he rushed over, and then saw the messy living room, and his face was immediately full of shock. Boy, were you the one causing trouble here just now? Seeing that the things around Qin Chen were the most messy, Wang Jung's face was immediately full of anger. He put down the hot water and pounced on Qin Chen. Wang Jung, stop. Before he could pounce in front of Qin Chen, he heard Zhu Zheng shout coldly, and then a huge force came, pulling him back instantly. Senior Zhu Zheng, what are you doing? Master is already in this state, and Xiao Ya is still bringing people here to cause trouble. It's clear she won't rest until Master is dead. Xiao Ya, what is your grudge that you must put Master in such a deadly position? Wang Jung roared angrily, his eyes instantly turning red. Wang Jung, things are not as you think. This young man was brought by Xiao Ya to treat your master. Listen to what Xiao Ya and this kid have to say first, Zhu Zheng said in a deep voice. At this moment, he had completely calmed down. Being able to stop him from taking action twice in a row showed that although Qin Chen was young, his strength was terrifyingly strong. If he wanted to kill Zhu Bo, he would have had the opportunity to do so earlier. But now, although his elder brother was unconscious, his life was not in danger. Moreover, Xiao Ya was his elder brother's beloved disciple, and one of his most admired disciples. Zhu Zheng also knew Xiao Ya extremely well, and he didn't believe that Xiao Ya would bring someone to kill his elder brother. From another perspective, even if Xiao Ya really wanted to kill her master, there were many better methods. There was no need to use such a direct method in front of him, putting herself in trouble. This kid treating master. Wang Jung's face immediately revealed anger. Senior Zhu Zheng, you believe this too? What kind of illness can this kid treat? Wang Jung was extremely disgusted with Qin Chen. Xiao Ya, I need an explanation, Zhu Zheng said, looking at Xiao Ya with a stern expression. Xiao Ya opened her mouth, but didn't know what to say. In fact, she didn't know why Qin Chen did what he did earlier. The only thing she believed was that Qin Chen would never harm master, and she looked at Qin Chen with frustration. I will naturally give everyone an explanation for this matter. Let's wait for Elder Zhu Bo to wake up before we talk, Qin Chen said indifferently. Explaining these things to them would be too troublesome. Wake up. My elder brother was knocked unconscious by you, and who knows when he'll wake up. Zhu Zheng frowned, his voice cold. These days, his elder brother's condition had worsened. Each time he fainted, it would last for 1 or 2 days at the shortest, and several days at the longest. Although his current state looked good, it was unknown how long he would have to wait before he woke up again. Don't worry, according to my estimation, Elder Zhu Bo will wake up in less than 10 breaths, Qin Chen said calmly, as if knowing Zhu Zheng's worries. 10 breaths. Wang Jung sneered and said angrily, who do you think you are? A fortune teller, saying master will wake up in 10 breaths, and he'll wake up in 10 breaths. Senior Zhu Zheng, don't be fooled by this kid, he definitely has ulterior motives for coming here. Qin Chen glanced coldly at Wang Jung, what ulterior motives could I have? That's for you to ask yourself, Wang Jung said furiously. Wang Jung, since this person said that elder brother will wake up soon, then let's wait for a moment, Zhu Zheng frowned and said in a deep voice. Seeing that Zhu Zheng had said so, Wang Jung wanted to say something, but could only swallow it back, and snorted coldly, all right, you just said that master would wake up in 10 breaths, so I'm counting. 5 breaths have already passed, and if master doesn't wake up in another 5 breaths, I will never forgive you. 6, 7, 8. Wang Jung counted coldly, looking at Qin Chen with an icy gaze. 10. 10 breaths actually passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, Wang Jung counted to 10, and then said coldly, you said master would wake up in 10 breaths, why hasn't he woken up yet, Senior Zhu Zheng? Cough. Before he could finish his sentence, he heard a cough. Elder Zhu Bo, who was lying on the sickbed, coughed violently and then woke up. The anger on Wang Jung's face instantly froze, and then he revealed an astonished and shocked expression. Qin Chen said 10 breaths, and he didn't expect master to really wake up in 10 breaths, not 1 breath more, not 1 breath less. Zhu Zheng also looked at Qin Chen in shock. From the moment he came in until now, Qin Chen had given him too many shocks. Elder brother, are you all right? Zhu Zheng hurriedly stepped forward. Second brother, what happened to me? Zhu Bo was still a little weak when he first woke up, but he quickly became more energetic. Remembering what had happened before, he frowned and said, I remember, this little brother touched me, and then I felt a little stuffy in my chest, and then I fainted. As he spoke, he carefully sensed his body, and a look of surprise appeared on his face. My body. As an elder of the Pill Pavilion, Zhu Bo was originally a master alchemist, and he knew his body too well. These days, after falling ill, his body's organs were constantly weakening, and he was afraid that he wouldn't live for many more days. But now, his body's organs had actually regained their vitality, which shocked Zhu Bo. Elder brother, it was this little brother who just treated your injuries. This person was brought over by Xiao Ya, and is said to be an alchemist from the Northwest 5 Nations, Zhu Zheng hurriedly stepped forward to explain. Ya. Zhu Bo looked at Xiao Ya with gentle eyes, and then looked at Qin Chen and said, could this person be the genius alchemist from the 5 Nations that you and Leng Feng recommended? Master, it's him. His name is Qin Chen. Xiao Ya hurriedly stepped forward, tears streaming down her face as she heard Master's inquiry. Seeing Master like this, she was also very sad. Truly a young hero, what a pity, what a pity. You came this time to represent our Pill Pavilion in the 100 Nations Grand Competition, right? It's just a pity that now, I am seriously ill, and your quota has already been taken away. I am sorry that I am unable to help. Zhu Bo shook his head and sighed. At this time, he was still considering the issue of Qin Chen's quota. Ha, Elder Zhu Bo, I don't really care about the quota. I came this time because I have something to discuss with the Pill Pavilion. At the same time, I heard that Elder Zhu Bo was seriously ill, and I wanted to see if there was anything I could do to help, Qin Chen said with a smile. Help. Elder Zhu Bo smiled bitterly. Little brother, you were the one who helped me recover a little just now, right? The technique you used is unknown even to me. Presumably, you must have received the true teachings of a master. Unfortunately, I know my illness very well. In the entire Great Wei dynasty, I am afraid that no one can save me. The days left for me are numbered. Zhu Bo shook his head, but his tone carried a trace of detachment. Although his current state was a little better, Zhu Bo was very clear that if he wanted to cure his illness, it was definitely not something ordinary alchemists could do. After all, he himself was a 6th grade early-stage alchemist, but he couldn't even figure out what illness he had. The alchemists in the entire imperial city of the Great Wei dynasty were helpless. Qin Chen was so young, even if he was a genius, he probably just used some unique techniques to alleviate his symptoms. Zhu Bo didn't have any hope that he could really cure his illness. Elder Zhu Bo, why be so pessimistic? If it was someone else, perhaps they really couldn't cure your illness, but this young master might be able to, Qin Chen said with a confident smile. What? You can cure master's illness? Xiao Ya exclaimed in shock. Just you. Stop pretending to be a ghost, Wang Jung snorted coldly. Zhu Zheng, on the other hand, revealed a hint of anticipation in his eyes. As for Elder Zhu Bo, he shook his head. Little brother, it's not that I don't believe you, but my illness has stumped many famous masters in the entire Great Wei dynasty. They can't even figure out the cause. Even if little brother has high talent, to say you can cure my illness, he. Elder Zhu Bo shook his head, clearly not believing it. Elder Zhu Bo, don't be so quick to say that. Could you allow this young master to examine your body more closely? Qin Chen said with a faint smile. What's wrong with that? Zhu Bo smiled and then, without any hesitation, removed the true energy from his body, saying, Little brother, feel free to examine. Master. Wang Jung immediately said anxiously, this guy has an unknown background. He might be someone from Elder Jin Yuan's side. If you remove your true energy like this, and the other party takes advantage of the weakness, wouldn't you be in danger? Zhu Bo smiled freely, I'm already like this. What's worth attacking? Moreover, he's recommended by your junior sister Xiao Ya. Your senior brother also praised him highly in the past. Could it be that you don't even trust your senior brother and junior sister? Little brother, feel free to examine me, Zhu Bo said casually as he lay there, clearly not having any hope for Qin Chen's examination, just wanting to make Qin Chen give up. Then I won't be polite. Qin Chen went directly to Zhu Bo's bedside, without any hesitation, grabbed his wrist, and began to take his pulse. His spiritual power, following Zhu Bo's wrist, instantly seeped into his body and began to slowly examine him. Regarding Zhu Bo's condition, Qin Chen had already made some guesses before, but he didn't have the opportunity to complete the examination. Now, examining it carefully again was just to avoid any mistakes. However, Qin Chen's casual actions made Zhu Zheng's expectant heart feel slightly disappointed. You should know that the previous masters were all cautious, asking the elder brother many questions, how the illness started, what the symptoms were, and the state of these days, what kind of medicinal pills had been used, and so on, before carefully diagnosing and analyzing. But this Qin Chen was good, directly grabbing the wrist to diagnose, and the key was that he was so casual, making Zhu Zheng, who originally saw Qin Chen making the elder brother's condition better and held a glimmer of hope, how could he not be disappointed? Qin Chen ignored the expressions of the others, just constantly probing, and only after half an incense stick did he withdraw his spiritual power. Qin Chen, is my master really curable? What exactly is the illness? Xiao Ya asked anxiously first. She understood Qin Chen's magic the most, and the hope she held in her heart was even stronger than Zhu Zheng's. Little brother, how is it? Do you know what illness I have? Zhu Bo also asked with a smile, obviously not holding any hope. After a long silence, Qin Chen raised his head, looked at Zhu Bo coldly, and said in a deep voice, Elder Zhu Bo, you are not sick, but poisoned. What? Poisoned? What a joke. My master poisoned. Master, I said this guy must be a liar. How could you be poisoned? Before Zhu Bo could speak, Wang Jung angrily opened his mouth, his face full of contempt and anger. I'm poisoned. I wonder if you have any basis for saying that. Elder Zhu Bo was not as excited as Wang Jung, but looked at Qin Chen solemnly. In fact, after searching for many causes of the disease and not finding them, he had also guessed whether he was poisoned. However, he could not detect any poison in his body, so he ruled it out. Now that Qin Chen so confidently said that he was poisoned, it made him curious. He wondered if it was really possible. I wonder if you know what kind of poison I've been poisoned with. Zhu Bo couldn't help but ask. Qin Chen pondered for a moment and said, Elder Zhu Bo, you have been poisoned with a poison called heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder. Heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder. Zhu Bo was stunned, then shook his head. Little brother, I have also heard of this poison. It is one of the most strange poisons in the world, but its poisonous characteristics are very obvious. Once poisoned, first the whole body is weak, then the muscles dissolve, and finally, even the bones will turn into pus and die in pain, which is not consistent with the symptoms on my body. As a 6th grade alchemist, Zhu Bo was not very concerned about poison, but he had learned about some famous poisons. He had really seen this heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder in an ancient book in the Pill Pavilion, and it was not consistent with the symptoms on his body at all. Moreover, his cultivation was as high as the peak of the mid-stage of the 6th level. Even if he did not understand poisons, he could still tell whether he was poisoned or not. Qin Chen said in a deep voice, Elder Zhu Bo, what you said is the ordinary heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder, but the heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder that you have been poisoned with is not ordinary, but has been specially improved, and even the poisonous ingredients in it have been adjusted. By means of gradual progress, you are poisoned, and you are becoming more and more poisoned during this period. Moreover, the other party's methods are very meticulous. Let alone you, even a 6th grade peak alchemist who does not understand poisons would not be able to see it if he did not understand. Everyone was dumbfounded, and they were full of doubts about Qin Chen's judgment. It was really that Qin Chen said it too mysteriously. That's not right. Zhu Bo was frowning and thinking at first, but suddenly, he raised his head sharply. Wait a minute, little brother, are you saying that the poison on my body was deliberately inflicted by someone else? And the other party has been constantly poisoning me during this period? That's right. Qin Chen nodded. Impossible. Zhu Zheng next to him suddenly shook his head and said, although I don't know what's wrong with Elder Brother's body, whether he's poisoned or not, I've been taking care of Elder Brother these days, but I'm very clear about whether anyone has poisoned him. No one can poison Elder Brother in front of me. Zhu Zheng's tone was very firm. Moreover, apart from some alchemists who came to treat Elder Brother these days, no other outsiders have come here. That's the other party's brilliance. Qin Chen smiled faintly. What do you mean by this? Zhu Zheng was very puzzled, and even Elder Zhu Bo frowned, not understanding. Qin Chen explained, this person's methods are very clever. He knows that it is impossible to directly poison Elder Zhu Bo, so he adopted an indirect method of poisoning. Not only that, his heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder is very special. It is refined according to Elder Zhu Bo's physique and is specifically aimed at Elder Zhu Bo alone. In other words, this thing is highly poisonous to Elder Zhu Bo, but if it is put on other people, it will have no effect at all. What's more, apart from you, it's not like no one else has been here, right? Isn't he always here? Qin Chen suddenly turned his head and looked at Wang Jung with a sneer. What do you mean? Seeing Qin Chen suddenly drag him into this, Wang Jung's face instantly revealed boundless anger. He wasn't an idiot. He could clearly hear that Qin Chen's words meant he was accusing him of administering the poison all along. My master has been as kind as a mountain to me, how could I poison him? Moreover, I don't even know what the heaven cicada bone dissolving powder is, how could I poison my master? Wang Jung said indignantly, Master, this kid definitely has ulterior motives, don't be fooled by him. Wang Jung's face flushed red as he spoke angrily, almost about to attack Qin Chen. Young friend, are you saying that Wang Jung deliberately administered the poison? Impossible. Elder Zhu Bo also shook his head, not suspecting Wang Jung in the slightest. I didn't say he deliberately administered the poison, but this poison is indeed related to him, Qin Chen said calmly. What evidence do you have? Wang Jung roared. If you can't give a reasonable explanation today, regardless of my master's attitude, I will never let you off. The evidence is the scent on your body, Qin Chen said indifferently. Scent? What scent? Wang Jung looked puzzled. Elder Zhu Bo, Zhu Zheng, and Xiao Ya also looked over with suspicion. Elder Zubo, you are a 6th grade alchemist. Can't you smell a faint fragrance on your disciple's body? A faint fragrance. Are you talking about the medicinal herb scent on him? While I was sick, Wang Jung fetched many medicines for me. It's normal for him to have a medicinal scent on him. It's not a medicinal scent. Smell it more carefully. Qin Chen shook his head. After being treated by Qin Chen, Elder Zubo's condition had clearly improved a lot. Hearing Qin Chen say this, he carefully sniffed again. His brow furrowed slightly. Besides the medicinal scent, Wang Jung does have a strange fragrance on him, a bit like rouge and powder. It seems like there is a little bit. There really is a special fragrance. At this time, Zhu Zheng and Xiao Ya also kept sniffing Wang Jung's body, seeming to have discovered something amiss. The problem actually lies in this fragrance, Qin Chen sneered. Impossible. Wang Jung's face was unsightly as he kept sniffing his own body, roaring, "What scent is on my body? Even if there's a bit of fragrance, so what? So many people have smelled it, and no one said anything was wrong. Is the scent of rouge and powder a poison?" Wang Jung was extremely angry, his face flushed red. Rouge and powder. Do you, a grown man, need to use rouge and powder? Qin Chen sneered. Wang Jung's face flushed red, stammering. "Young friend, what's the problem with this scent exactly?" Zubo turned his head to look. If it's ordinary rouge and powder, naturally there won't be any problems, but this scent has devil's tongue powder added to it. Devil's tongue powder is a poisonous factor. Its fragrance is extremely similar to ordinary rouge, so ordinary people can't distinguish it at all. Even alchemists, if they don't know about it, won't be able to tell. Moreover, devil's tongue powder isn't a highly toxic substance. Ordinary people will at most feel dizzy from smelling too much, let alone martial artists. However, this devil's tongue powder is highly poisonous to you. Ordinary people are fine, but it's highly poisonous to me. What's the reason for this? Elder Zubo asked, puzzled. Elder Zubo, if I'm not mistaken, you cultivate some kind of yang attribute cultivation technique, right? At this moment, Qin Chen's tone changed, and he suddenly asked. Zubo was stunned, not knowing why Qin Chen would suddenly switch to cultivation techniques, but he still nodded and said, "That's right. What I cultivate is a very domineering and vigorous yang attribute cultivation technique called 9 Yang Scorching Sun Technique." Qin Chen nodded, "Then that's right. Moreover, Elder Zubo, your Qi should have been injured before and has never fully recovered. You often need to take elixirs that nourish the Qi to recuperate." "How do you know?" Zubo looked at Qin Chen in shock. The fact that his Qi had been injured was known to very few people in the entire Pill Pavilion, only some higher-ups knew about it. That was something that happened when he was young, and even the few disciples under him were unaware. Qin Chen smiled slightly. "The other party's Heaven Cicada bone dissolving powder is using your injury, Elder Zubo, because your Qi has been injured and damaged. In addition, the cultivation technique you practice is extremely yang and vigorous, and you need nourishing medicines to nourish your Qi all year round. Therefore, the opponent created a Heaven Cicada bone dissolving powder specifically targeting this type of problem. Once you come into contact with the source of the poison, your originally injured Qi will react and become unstable, as if you suddenly have a serious illness." Elder Zubo's eyeballs were completely wide at this moment. This time, his serious illness came extremely suddenly, but it did indeed originate from the Qi. But who exactly administered the poison? If someone administered the poison, how could I not sense it at all? Zubo, now half believing Qin Chen, asked in confusion. "That's the other party's second brilliant point," Qin Chen sighed. "The other party knows that you, Elder Zubo, are highly skilled in alchemy, so they didn't dare to directly administer the poison, but gradually and progressively did so. In fact, the poison you were initially exposed to wasn't a true poison. If you isolated yourself from the source of the poison during that time and took more care, you would gradually have been fine. However, the other party expected that you would panic after your Qi had problems and quickly seek treatment. So, they tampered with the healing elixirs you took next, constantly strengthening and even spreading the toxins in your body. If I'm not mistaken, after you were injured, Elder Zubo, You first took stabilizing acupoint pills to stabilize your acupoints, and then you took qi nourishing pills to nourish your acupoints. In the past, you would definitely have done this, and it would have been very effective. But after taking the elixirs this time, you found that your condition not only didn't improve, but even worsened. In the end, even your whole body reacted. This phenomenon should have occurred 2 or 3 months ago. Then, after realizing that you couldn't solve it yourself, you should have asked many doctors and alchemists. I can't analyze all the elixirs you took, but at least, you took bitter lu pill, Qingke pill, white grass pill, and Yanghuan pill. By this time, your condition had become extremely serious, even bedridden, and your mind was somewhat muddled. Qin Chen spoke eloquently. You. How do you know? At this moment, Elder Zhu Bo, Wang Zheng, Zhu Zheng, and the others looked at Qin Chen in shock, their expressions as if they had seen a ghost. Since Elder Zhu Bo fell ill, they had been taking care of him, and the elixirs he took after asking doctors and alchemists had all passed through their hands. Naturally, they knew clearly that the several elixirs Qin Chen mentioned had all been taken by Elder Zhu Bo, not missing a single one. Moreover, the order in which they were taken, and even the situation, were exactly the same as Qin Chen said. How could this not shock them? This treatment process was a secret, and no outsiders could possibly know about it except for the 3 of them, unless Qin Chen had learned about the situation from all the physicians and alchemists who had diagnosed Elder Zhu Bo. However, this was simply impossible. Moreover, even if Qin Chen had inquired with all the alchemists, it would have been useless, because some of the pills were prescribed by Elder Zhu Bo himself, and no one else would have known about them. Yet now, Qin Chen knew so clearly, it was as if he had witnessed it with his own eyes. It was too shocking. Qin Chen shook his head slightly. Actually, the problem with Elder Zhu Bo wasn't a big problem in the first place, but after such a treatment process, the heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder in your body can be considered truly formed. These pills all contain the ingredients of heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder, and combined with your qi and cultivation method, they gradually formed an invisible poison. The person who could create such a terrifying poison must be a poison expert. Elder Zhu Bo and the others couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. If what Qin Chen said was true, then the other party's schemes were truly terrifying, using the injuries on his body to gradually lead him to his ultimate death. But, what about the konjac powder you mentioned earlier? Elder Zhu Bo frowned. This is the key to the problem. Qin Chen said in a deep voice. The heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder refined by the other party, in order to prevent it from being discovered as a poison, is actually incomplete, lacking a medicinal primer, and that medicinal primer is konjac powder. The poison must be frequently exposed to konjac powder to be effective, otherwise, the poison in your body will gradually dissipate. Obviously, the other party put konjac powder on this person, causing the poison in your body to continue to deepen, and the injuries to become more and more serious. But once someone comes to diagnose you, because your body lacks the medicinal primer, and the poison and the medicinal primer are separated, the other party will not be able to detect that you are actually poisoned, even if a rank 6 peak alchemist comes. As Qin Chen explained, Zhu Bo and the others were completely stunned. So that's what happened. Zhu Bo couldn't imagine how he was not falling ill, but someone was deliberately poisoning him, and the means of poisoning were so hidden and so terrifying. Impossible. How could I have harmed my master? At this time, Wang Zheng muttered to himself, with an unbelievable look on his face, angrily looking at Qin Chen and saying, "Don't talk nonsense. What konjac powder? What heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder? You made it all up. Tell me, what are your intentions?" Wang Zheng roared and rushed towards Qin Chen. "Stop it!" Zhu Zheng shouted coldly, stopping Wang Zheng, a cold light flashing in his eyes. Although what Qin Chen said was strange, Zhu Zheng actually had a 70 to 80% belief in his heart. "Wang Zheng, what's going on with the smell on your body?" Zhu Bo also looked at Wang Zheng and asked in a low voice. "Master, I speak. This rouge scent should be from Yu Rou," Wang Zheng said, his face flushed. Yu Rou. Zhu Bo and Xiao Ya were stunned. "Are you talking about Yu Rou, the disciple under Elder Wu Rufeng?" "Yes, Master. After you fell ill, junior sister Yu Rou was also very worried." This disciple often had to fetch medicine for you, and I couldn't handle it alone, so junior sister Yu Ro would often help me find it, so after a while, the two of us became familiar. The rouge scent on my body should be the rouge scent from Yu Ro's body. Wang Jung said, his face red. Hey, what a loyal disciple, your master is seriously ill, and you still have the leisure to mess around with other women. Qin Chen sneered. Wang Jung said angrily, boy, what nonsense are you talking about? Master, you have to believe in this disciple, how could I harm you? Junior sister Yu Ro is only worried about the injuries on your body, master, don't believe this guy. Wang Jung looked anxious. Qin Chen shook his head, this kid still didn't believe that his master was poisoned even now. Actually, if you want to know whether the other party deliberately poisoned you, it's very simple. The effect of normal konjac powder can only last for 4 or 5 days, so in order to maintain the poison of the heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder, the other party must put konjac powder on you every 4 or 5 days. You just need to think carefully, did Yu Ro suddenly become familiar with you 2 or 3 months ago, and see you every 4 or 5 days? Qin Chen sneered. As soon as Qin Chen said this, Wang Jung's body suddenly shook, and a look of shock and anger appeared in his eyes. Wang Jung, is it? Zhu Bo saw Wang Jung's expression and immediately shouted coldly. Master, I. Wang Jung stammered, his face completely changed. A look of grief appeared on Zhu Bo's face, and he said angrily, Wang Jung, that elder Wu Rufeng has always been at odds with me, he is from elder Jin Yuan's side, how could you be with his disciple, what are you thinking? Qin Chen sneered, what else can he be thinking? This Wang Jung must have been interested in that Yu Ro for a long time, but this person ignored him before, and now suddenly looks at him differently, so naturally he can't hold back. Hey, a beauty trap, the other party has made a good calculation. The other party could have studied Elder Zhu Bo's side so thoroughly, they must have made a lot of preparations, even if there was no Wang Jung, they would definitely think of other ways. Good one Jin Yuan, what a ruthless heart, we are both elders of the Pill Pavilion, how could you use such a poisonous hand on me? Zhu Bo said angrily, coughing suddenly as he was overwhelmed with anger. Master, Xiao Ya walked forward worriedly, and at the same time asked doubtfully, how do you know it was Elder Jin Yuan who did it? HMPH. Zhu Bo's eyes turned cold, and he said, our Dawei dynasty Pill Pavilion didn't actually have any poison masters before, but some time ago, the Leng family didn't know where they recruited an extremely terrifying poison master, who developed many new types of pills, compressing our Pill Pavilion's share even more severely. As far as I know, Elder Jin Yuan and the Leng family have a close cooperation. In recent years, Jin Yuan has always wanted to control the Pill Pavilion, so that he and the Leng family can dominate the entire Dawei dynasty's pill business. I have always disagreed, and the person who can know me so well and design such a poisonous thing must be Jin Yuan and the Leng family's doing. Qin Chen was stunned, he didn't expect that there was actually a cooperation between Elder Jin Yuan and the Leng family, which was in line with his enemies. Young Master Chen, since you know what poison my master has, is there a way to solve this poison? Xiao Ya hurriedly looked at Qin Chen. At this moment, Zhu Zheng, Zhu Bo and others all turned their heads to look, a fiery look in their eyes. Hey, actually this poison is not an incurable disease, it's just a bit complicated because it combines Elder Zhu Bo's physical characteristics. Now that we understand the cause, it's not difficult to treat. Saying this, Qin Chen immediately wrote down a prescription, Xiao Ya, as long as you find these spiritual herbs, I am confident that I can make Elder Zhu Bo recover immediately. Okay, I'll go get them right away. After looking at the prescription, Xiao Ya's face was full of surprise, and she immediately turned and left the refining room. Elder Zhu Bo, although the poison in your body isn't a big problem, it's best to force the toxins out of your body before taking the antidote. Otherwise, the toxins in your body have already penetrated deep into your internal organs. Relying solely on pills, it might take 10 days to half a month to completely eliminate them. After seeing Xiao Ya leave, Qin Chen said again, force it out. How? Zhu Bo asked doubtfully. Naturally, there's a way. Qin Chen smiled slightly. If Elder Zubo trusts me, I can remove the poison for you now. The heavenly cicada bone dissolving powder might be considered a top-tier poison in this Great Wei dynasty, but in Qin Chen's eyes, it's nothing at all. He has plenty of ways to remove it. Since little brother is someone recommended by Xiao Ya, I naturally trust you. Elder Zubo was also straightforward and said without hesitation. In that case, please Elder Zubo, disperse your true energy and sit cross-legged, Qin Chen instructed. Big brother, let me help you. Zhu Zheng hurriedly stepped forward. No need. Zubo waved his hand and sat down cross-legged. Please, little brother, take action. All right. Qin Chen nodded. In the next moment, the mysterious rusty sword suddenly appeared in his hand, emitting a sharp chill, and stabbed towards Zubo with a sword. Sure. The sharp sword light instantly arrived in front of Zubo. Zhu Zheng, whose expression was quite expectant, instantly changed his face and hurriedly took action, blocking Qin Chen's sword light in an instant. Only a ding sound was heard, and the sharp sword energy surged. Zhu Zheng was startled. The power of this sword was not as strong as he had imagined. Qin Chen frowned. Senior Zhu Zheng, I'm about to remove the poison for Elder Zubo. Why are you stopping me? Remove poison. Zhu Zheng was speechless. Looking at Qin Chen's eyes, it was like looking at a monster. He knew that Qin Chen said he wanted to remove the poison, but to remove the poison for his big brother by directly stabbing him with a sword was too bizarre, right? Did they think everyone was an idiot? His big brother was already physically weak, and now he had dispersed his true energy. If this sword went down, the poison wouldn't be removed, and his big brother would probably be stabbed through. Great. Master, you've seen it too. This kid is not a good person at all. What heavenly cicada bone dissolving powder, this kid said so much, and now he's finally exposed. He just wants to kill you. Wang Jung also became excited and said angrily. Shouldn't you give us an explanation? Zhu Zheng stared at Qin Chen coldly and said in a deep voice. Elder Zubo, don't you trust me now? Qin Chen ignored the two and looked at Zubo. If Elder Zubo doesn't trust me, then I won't take action. Anyway, the poison is in your body, not mine. The method Qin Chen actually wanted to use to remove the poison was to use golden needles to pierce acupoints, using true energy to stimulate Zubo's acupoints to achieve the effect of removing toxins. However, he didn't have any golden needles on him now, so he switched to the mysterious rusty sword. With Qin Chen's cultivation, there was actually no difference between using the mysterious rusty sword and using golden needles. However, he was too lazy to explain, because even if he said it, Zhu Zheng and the others wouldn't believe it, and it would be even more troublesome. After all, using a sword instead of golden needles to pierce acupoints was something that no one would believe. Zhu Zheng, step back. I believe this little brother. Zubo looked at Qin Chen and said calmly. Big brother. Zhu Zheng was immediately anxious. Don't worry, if little brother wanted to kill me, he would have had opportunities just now. Why would he wait until now to do it so openly? Elder Zubo said in a deep voice. This. Zhu Zheng hesitated. Don't worry, nothing will happen. Little brother, go ahead. Zubo looked at Qin Chen and said calmly. In fact, as a 6th grade alchemist, Zubo also couldn't understand what Qin Chen wanted to do. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't suspicious in his heart. However, from Qin Chen's eyes, he couldn't see any sinister intentions, only calmness and gentleness. Moreover, when Qin Chen drew his sword earlier, he didn't feel any killing intent. All right, then I'm going to take action. As soon as he finished speaking, Qin Chen no longer hesitated. The rusty sword in his right hand suddenly transformed into sword lights. Shua shua shua, the sky was filled with sword lights, like a rain of pear blossoms, pouring down on Zubo in an instant. Seeing this, Zhu Zheng clenched his fists on the side, his heart instantly rose to his throat, and his breathing stopped nervously. He concentrated the true energy in his body to the extreme, ready to take action. If Qin Chen really wanted to kill his big brother, he would take action as soon as possible. But he was very clear that if Qin Chen really wanted to kill his big brother, no matter how fast he reacted, it would be too late. By the time he took action, his big brother would already be dead. So now, He could only secretly pray that Qin Chen was really removing the poison for his big brother. Puff puff puff. Countless sword lights, like a rainstorm, instantly landed on Elder Zhu Bo. In the next moment, Qin Chen sheathed his sword and stood quietly aside. Zhu Zheng, who was originally extremely nervous, was instantly stunned. Little brother, why aren't you treating him anymore? Qin Chen looked at him suspiciously. Treating? I've already finished removing the poison, what else is there to treat? What? Finished removing the poison? Staggering, Zhu Zheng almost fell, almost crying. Big brother, you just swayed your hand, and you're done removing the poison. You were just talking about how terrifying the heavenly cicada bone dissolving powder was. When did removing poison become so simple? If it was so simple, would Big Brother have to suffer so much these days, and even almost lost his life? Wang Jung also felt extremely angry, and thought to himself, this kid is clearly lying, I must expose him. Just as he was about to jump out and scold him angrily, he heard a long sigh. Huff. On the bed, Zhu Bo let out a long breath. This breath was extremely long, and it actually carried traces of black, as if constantly exhaling black mist. At the same time, a fishy and foul smell spread throughout the room. And as the black gas left, Zhu Bo's complexion became more and more rosy. In the end, his originally wilted complexion actually became energetic, and his whole body exuded a surging vitality. This black gas is the heavenly cicada bone dissolving powder accumulated in Elder Zhu Bo's body. We can't let these toxins spread out again, harming others and ourselves. Qin Chen took a step forward, and the true energy in his hand suddenly burned into true fire, instantly burning these black gases into nothingness. A burnt smell filled the air. Thank you, little brother, for saving my life. I will never forget it. After a while, Zhu Bo instantly jumped off the bed and respectfully bowed to Qin Chen. His breath was long, his movements were powerful, and there was no trace of a serious illness. It was as if he had ushered in a second spring. Hiss. Zhu Zheng gasped, looking at Qin Chen in horror. Healed. It's really healed. The terminal illness that had plagued his big brother for several months and was almost incurable was actually resolved by this young man in a moment. He couldn't believe it in his heart, this was too fake. Wang Jung also instantly felt his mind go blank, and his whole body softened, instantly collapsing to the ground like mud. He had always believed that Qin Chen was a swindler, but now it seemed that what he said was very likely true. He was the one who harmed his master, the one who made his master's condition worse and almost killed him. Thinking of this, Wang Jung's face was ashen. It's just a small effort, nothing to mention. Faced with the gratitude of Zhu Bo and others, Qin Chen waved his hand, extremely calm. Elder Zhu Bo, although most of the toxins in your body have been removed by me, there are still some toxins that have penetrated deep into the bone marrow and have not been removed. Later, after Xiao Ya gets the spiritual medicine, this young master will personally refine a furnace of detoxification pills for the elder. The elder only needs to take all the pills, and after half a month, he will recover. Otherwise, the toxins in the elder's body will definitely recur. Qin Chen warned. Yes. Then I will have to trouble you, young friend. Elder Zhu Bo's heart tightened. Thinking that his toxins might recur, his expression became more respectful. He never wanted to experience that kind of painful process again. Lying in bed, gradually feeling the organ failure and the loss of vitality, that feeling was worse than death. Qin Chen smiled slightly. In fact, with his knowledge from his previous life, he didn't need to refine any more pills to completely remove the toxins from Elder Zhu Bo's body. However, he still had something that required Elder Zhu Bo's help later. As the saying goes, one shouldn't speak too fully. Before achieving his goal, he would naturally not remove all the toxins from Zhu Bo's body. This was not because he didn't trust Zhu Bo, but because it concerned everyone's safety, he had to be careful. Huff. Taking a deep breath, Zhu Bo felt his whole body filled with power. The organs that had been failing these days actually showed signs of vitality, causing him to exclaim in amazement. Qin Chen's medical skills were too terrifying. Even a detoxification and injury healing pill that was effective wouldn't be as good as this. Young friend, your skills just now were miraculous. I wonder what kind of detoxification technique you used. Curious, Zhu Bo couldn't help but ask. Zhu Zheng and Wang Jung also looked over intently. Just a few swords pierced out, and most of the toxins in Zhu Bo's body were removed. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, they probably wouldn't have believed it. It's actually very simple. This young master just used the golden needle acupuncture method to stimulate the acupoints in Elder Zhu Bo's body with external true energy, forcing all the toxins into Elder Zhu Bo's respiratory tract, and then expelling them. Although the heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder is terrifying, it transmits toxins through the blood, and there is no damage to the respiratory tract at all, and the spread is not very large. This is why everyone has been here for so long without being poisoned. Golden needle acupuncture. Everyone went crazy and almost fainted to the ground. Golden needle acupuncture was rumored to be an extremely terrifying treatment method that used tiny golden needles to stimulate acupoints for healing. However, the difficulty of golden needle acupuncture was extremely terrifying, because acupoints were the most mysterious places in the human body. A slight mistake would cause huge consequences. That's why golden needles were used for stimulation. First, golden needles were extremely tiny, as thin as cow hair, and second, gold was extremely soft and had excellent ductility, which would not cause too much damage to the acupoints. But this Qin Chen, recalling the mysterious rusty sword that Qin Chen wielded, everyone was so shocked that they almost vomited blood. Using a sharp sword instead of a golden needle for acupuncture, how could it be true? Only Zhu Bo's eyes narrowed, as if he was deep in thought. He was the one who personally felt Qin Chen's attack. At that moment, dozens of acupoints on his body were stimulated at the same time, and a stream of true energy poured in at the same time. These true energies seemed to be commanded, flowing through all the meridians in his body, without missing any corner, which is how all the toxins were removed. Even he, a 6th grade early stage alchemist, might not be able to achieve such miraculous skills and precision in acupuncture. Young friend is indeed highly skilled. I admire you. At this moment, Zhu Bo no longer dared to treat Qin Chen as a young man, but as a master no weaker than himself. Master. Just then, Xiao Ya walked in from outside the refining room. Master, are you all right? Seeing Elder Zhu Bo standing in the living room with a radiant face, Xiao Ya was first stunned, and then a look of ecstasy appeared on her face. Thanks to the young friend's help, the toxins in my body have been removed by about 70 to 80%. There is only a small amount left, which requires you to get the spiritual medicine and let the young friend refine it into pills before it can be removed, Zhu Bo said. That's great, Master, I said. There will definitely be no problem with young Master Chen's help. Xiao Ya was so excited that tears were about to fall. Then she saw everyone looking at her, and then she realized, saying, Young Master Chen, most of the medicinal materials you requested have been found by me, but there are still 2 kinds of spiritual medicines that are relatively rare and difficult to preserve, so they must be picked and used immediately, so the pill pavilion does not have them for the time being, but I have already sent people to collect them, and it is estimated that they will be delivered within 2 or 3 days. Still need 2 or 3 days. There was some disappointment on Zhu Bo's face. Ever since he heard Qin Chen say that his toxins might recur, he couldn't wait to remove all the toxins. But now it seems that it is impossible to completely remove them today. Unfortunately, 2 or 3 days is not too long. No hurry. Qin Chen also smiled. The toxins on Elder Zhu Bo's body are unlikely to recur in a short time, so it's okay to wait. Okay. Elder Zhu Bo nodded solemnly, and then looked at Qin Chen, and said seriously, this old man's life was saved by you, young friend. In the future, no matter what you need, young friend, this old man will definitely do his best. Speaking of requests, Elder Zhu Bo, this young master really has a request now, Qin Chen suddenly said. Oh. Elder Zhu Bo was stunned. Please speak, young friend. As far as I know, any pill pavilion on the continent has a wall of difficulties. I wonder if the pill pavilion of the Great Wei dynasty has this wall of difficulties. Qin Chen asked. Wall of difficulties. Elder Zhu Bo nodded and said, we naturally have such things in our pill pavilion. There should also be questions raised by the current pavilion master on this wall of difficulties, right? Qin Chen asked again. That's natural. The current pavilion master, Zhuo Qingfeng, is actually from the Pill Pavilion branch in the Northern Heaven region. It is said that he also has a great background in the Northern Heaven region, but because he committed something, he was demoted to our Great Wei Dynasty Pill Pavilion. In these years, he rarely manages the affairs of the Pill Pavilion, and only focuses on cultivation, but he has also left questions on the wall of difficulties. I wonder why the young friend is asking this. Actually, the purpose of my trip to the Pill Pavilion is to break through this wall of difficulties, Qin Chen said in a deep voice. What? You want to challenge the puzzle stone wall? Hearing Qin Chen's words, Zhu Bo, Xiao Ya, and Wang Zheng were instantly stunned. Each of them looked at Qin Chen in shock, their minds spinning, their faces even turning pale, and their bodies trembling. Puzzle stone wall, what is that? Zhu Zheng asked in confusion. Among the crowd, he was the only one who didn't know about this puzzle stone wall. The puzzle stone wall is a place where various pill pavilions specifically record difficult problems encountered during the refining process, problems that cannot be solved. Basically, they are all left behind by the past pavilion masters in the last 100 years. Of course, there are also some problems raised by some top elders, which even the past pavilion masters couldn't solve, Xiao Ya said in a deep voice. It collects unsolvable problems from the Pill Pavilion over the past 100 years, and even the Pill Pavilion masters can't solve them. Zhu Zheng was stunned. Although he didn't know much about alchemists, he also knew that Zhuo Qingfeng, the pavilion master of the Pill Pavilion of the Dewei dynasty, was a peak 6th grade alchemist and the strongest alchemist in the entire Dewei dynasty. If the problems on the puzzle stone wall were all unsolvable by the past pavilion masters, wouldn't that mean that no alchemist in the entire Dewei dynasty could solve them? Yes, Xiao Ya nodded. Not only can the current pavilion master not solve them, but for the past 100 years, the alchemists of our Pill Pavilion, including the pavilion masters, have been unable to solve them. That's why it's called the puzzle stone wall. It's just a place to record difficult problems. It's okay to challenge it, right? There's no need to be so nervous. Zhu Zheng asked strangely. He thought it was a big deal. Isn't it just challenging a place to record difficult problems? At worst, he can just retreat if he can't solve them. Moreover, Qin Chen previously removed the heavenly cicada bone dissolving powder from his elder brother so easily. Maybe he can solve one or two problems. Why is everyone, even his elder brother, a powerful elder, trembling and turning pale? Senior Zhu Zheng, you don't know the significance of this place. Seeing Zhu Zheng's depressed look, Xiao Ya couldn't help but shake her head. She didn't expect that Qin Chen's so-called coming to the Pill Pavilion to solve problems was to challenge the puzzle stone wall. Significance. Yes, not everyone is qualified to challenge the puzzle stone wall. After all, the problems on it are extremely difficult. It's okay if the challenger can't answer, but once they answer one correctly, they can directly become the honorary pavilion master of the local Pill Pavilion. If they answer 2 or more correctly, they can even directly become the pavilion master of the local Pill Pavilion and inherit the position of pavilion master. Therefore, challenging the puzzle stone wall is equivalent to challenging the current pavilion master, which is a very serious matter. Xiao Ya explained with a solemn expression. Challenging the position of pavilion master. Zhu Zheng felt his eyes darken. What's the situation? How does challenging a puzzle stone wall become challenging the pavilion master? The difficult problems left on the puzzle stone wall have been accumulated over time, and they are problems that all alchemists in the entire Pill Pavilion cannot solve. Seeing Zhu Zheng's confusion, Xiao Ya smiled bitterly and continued. To become the pavilion master of the Pill Pavilion, one's alchemy skills must naturally surpass others in order to have supreme authority. Zhu Zheng nodded. Alchemists are the same as other professions. If they want to lead others, how is it possible without superb strength and alchemy skills that surpass ordinary people? Basically, the pavilion master of any Pill Pavilion is the one with the highest alchemy level and the deepest cultivation in the Pill Pavilion. There won't be situations like in some royal departments where the weaker lead the stronger. Alchemy, in many cases, is not like martial arts, which can be directly compared. In martial arts competitions, who is stronger and who is weaker can be determined in one go. But for alchemists, for example, Master and Elder Jin Yuan are both early stage 6th grade. Even if there is a slight difference, who is stronger? There is no accurate answer. If Master can refine a certain 6th grade pill, but Elder Jin Yuan cannot, it doesn't necessarily mean that Master is stronger than Elder Jin Yuan. It is very likely that the pills that Elder Jin Yuan can refine, Master also cannot refine. Each has its own strengths and specialties. Zhu Zheng nodded again. In martial arts, winning is winning, and losing is losing, which can be seen at a glance. Alchemy is different. Some people are good at this pill, and some people are good at that pill. Unless there is a direct difference in grade, it is difficult to say who is stronger or weaker within the same grade. Moreover, sometimes grade may not represent everything. For example, a 6th grade martial venerable whose spiritual power has reached the 6th grade can naturally refine the most basic 6th grade pills as long as they work hard. But in fact, their alchemy level and attainments may not be very high. On the other hand, a late-stage 5th grade martial grandmaster cannot break through to martial venerable for a long time, so they cannot become a 6th grade alchemist. However, their alchemy attainments are extremely strong, and they can even refine dozens or hundreds of types of peak 5th grade pills. To say that the 6th grade alchemist is stronger than the 5th grade alchemist is definitely true, but to say that their alchemy attainments are definitely higher than the 5th grade alchemist is not necessarily the case. Therefore, within the pill pavilion, in addition to directly comparing grades, the puzzle stone wall is used to verify alchemy attainments. Xiao Ya continued. The stone wall records difficult problems that the past presidents of the pill pavilion could not solve. In order to encourage alchemists to work hard and forge ahead, the pill pavilion headquarters specifically stipulates that any alchemist who can solve a problem on the puzzle stone wall can directly become the honorary pavilion master of the pill pavilion, and any alchemist who can answer 2 questions can directly replace the current pavilion master and become the new pavilion master of the pill pavilion. This also leads to the fact that not every alchemist can answer the questions. At least someone like me can't. According to the rules, at least an elder-level alchemist is required to answer the questions, or an elder-level alchemist must vouch for them before they can. This. Zhu Zheng blinked, finally understanding. No wonder everyone is so nervous. If Qin Chen really goes to challenge the puzzle stone wall, it is equivalent to challenging the current pavilion master. Whether he can answer or not, it is a big deal. If he can answer correctly, that's fine, but if he can't answer, not to mention anything else, the current president Zhuo Qingfeng will not spare him. As for what will happen to Elder Zhu Bo, who vouched for him, one doesn't need to think to know. Moreover, once someone challenges the puzzle stone wall, the current president, Zhuo Qingfeng, must be notified. President Zhuo Qingfeng has been in seclusion and never cares about the internal affairs of the pill pavilion. If someone disturbs him because of this, but can't answer a single question, President Zhuo Qingfeng will be furious, and even Elder Zhu Bo may not be able to protect Qin Chen. Since they are difficult problems that the past pavilion masters could not solve, even if young Master Chen answers incorrectly, no one will know, right? After a moment of silence, Zhu Zheng couldn't help but say. It is said that these are difficult problems from the past 100 years, which no one can solve. If he answers incorrectly, no one will be able to tell. If it were that simple, that would be great. Xiao Ya smiled bitterly. Challenging the puzzle stone wall is very important. Any answer will be submitted to the pill pavilion headquarters as soon as possible and examined by 7th grade medicine kings and even 8th grade medicine emperors. If the answer makes some sense, that's fine, and even if it's not the correct answer, there won't be any consequences. But if one answers randomly, the headquarters will be furious and even punish the pill pavilion where they are located. This is another important reason why the puzzle stone wall cannot be easily challenged. Verify with the headquarters of the pill pavilion. Random answers will result in severe punishment for the local pill pavilion. Zhu Zheng was instantly stunned. In that case, unless one is absolutely confident, recklessly attempting the difficult tablet is likely to be severely punished by the headquarters. No wonder everyone is so surprised. He also heard that the current president of the pill pavilion, Zhuo Qingfeng, comes from a higher power and is determined to return to the North Heaven region pill pavilion branch. If something like this happens again, with severe punishment, it would probably be even more difficult for Zhuo Qingfeng to be transferred back. Just thinking about how President Zhuo Qingfeng would treat his elder brother in a fit of rage is terrifying. Dust. Do you really have to challenge the difficult tablet? Xiao Ya couldn't help but ask. Qin Chen nodded. This is part of my plan. Only in this way can I gain a foothold in this great Wei dynasty. Putting aside whether you can answer correctly, even if you do answer correctly, even if you answer more than 2 questions correctly and really become the new pavilion master of the Pill Pavilion, it will still take at least 2 or 3 months for the Pill Pavilion headquarters to verify and send someone to execute the appointment. Xiao Ya knew that Qin Chen's purpose in coming to the Pill Pavilion was to confront the Leng family and protect Yu Changxiu and the others. If he really became the pavilion master of the Pill Pavilion, he would indeed have the status to protect them. However, according to the fastest time, it would take 2 or 3 months. If the Leng family really wanted to retaliate, would they wait that long? Such a long time, they probably wouldn't wait for the appointment to come down and would have already targeted you. I naturally have plans for that. I just need to be able to challenge the difficult tablet, Qin Chen said in a deep voice. How could he not know these problems? However, he was not challenging the difficult tablet to become the next pavilion master of the Pill Pavilion, but for another purpose. Xiao Ya, what's going on? Hearing the conversation between Xiao Ya and Qin Chen, Elder Zhu Bo looked suspicious. Master, it's like this. Xiao Ya glanced at Qin Chen. Seeing that Qin Chen didn't object, she immediately explained the whole story. When Zhu Bo and the others heard that Qin Chen had actually led people to wipe out the Feng family, a noble family in the imperial city, everyone was completely stunned. This. Zhu Zheng looked at Qin Chen in horror. He didn't expect Qin Chen to be such a terrifying person. Wang Jung was so frightened that his legs went weak. Thinking about how he had repeatedly confronted Qin Chen before, his heart was filled with fear. He had offended such a murderous maniac. Wouldn't he be killed by him in the future? I didn't expect so many things to happen during my illness. Xiao Ya told me before that the few people from your 5 nations who obtained the inheritance of the ancient southern capital have become fat meat in the eyes of the major forces in the imperial city. The Feng family is a family under the Leng family, and his actions must not represent the will of the Feng family alone. There must be the Leng family's orders behind it. And the other forces in the imperial city actually allowed the Feng family under the Leng family to attack your 5 nations' disciples. Obviously, the Leng family must have reached an agreement with some forces in secret. And you destroyed the Feng family. I'm afraid you have offended not only the Leng family, but also the other forces in the imperial city. Elder Zhu Bo's expression was solemn. With his insight, although he had been sick in bed these days, he instantly analyzed the true shadows behind the matter. If it was just the Leng family alone, I might be able to protect you. But now, after my serious illness, Elder Jin Yuan has seized a lot of power in the Pill Pavilion, and few elders support me. In addition, Elder Jin Yuan has an extremely close relationship with the Leng family and has obtained the consent of other forces in the imperial city. It might be possible for me to protect one of you, but it would be difficult to protect all of you from the 5 nations. Zhu Bo sighed, feeling deeply powerless. Although the Pill Pavilion is noble, he is only an elder after all and cannot decide too much. Elder Zhu Bo, the purpose of my trip is not to seek your protection. I only ask that you allow me to challenge the difficult tablet. You don't have to worry about the rest, Qin Chen said. He also knew Elder Zhu Bo's ability, so he didn't place his hopes on him. Challenge the difficult tablet. Okay, no problem. After learning about Qin Chen's situation, Elder Zhu Bo immediately agreed to Qin Chen's request without hesitation. Putting aside the fact that his life was still in Qin Chen's hands and the poison had not been completely removed, just the fact that Qin Chen saved his life was enough. He was not the kind of person who was ungrateful. Even if it meant offending the pavilion master, so what? Without Qin Chen, he might still be lying in bed now, waiting to die in pain. Okay. In addition to that, I also want some information about the current pavilion master Zhuo Qingfeng, including his cultivation, alchemy attainments, and why he was demoted to the Great Wei dynasty, etc. Qin Chen said excitedly. Also want information about the pavilion master. Zhu Bo was suspicious, not understanding what Qin Chen was up to, but still said, no problem, but I don't have much contact with the pavilion master, and I don't know much about many things, but I have the basic information. I wonder when little brother is going to challenge the difficult tablet. Now, Qin Chen said in a deep voice. What he lacked most now was time. Now, Zubo was stunned, then nodded and said, then please come with me, little brother. With that, Zubo told Qin Chen some information about the current pavilion master Zhuo Qingfeng while leading Qin Chen quickly to the Pill Pavilion Hall. The group quickly arrived in the hall. Isn't that Elder Zubo? Seeing Zubo, who had been seriously ill for many days, appear, the many alchemists and servants in the hall were all stunned, looking at the group with their mouths wide open. Where's Manager Guzan? Have him come to see me. The location of the difficult tablet was behind the Pill Pavilion Hall. The reason why it was placed in such a conspicuous position was to encourage all the alchemists. And to conduct the assessment of the difficult tablet, one must go through the on-duty pavilion manager, because only the pavilion manager has the key to open the difficult tablet. Elder Zubo, you called me. Hurrying to Elder Zubo, Guzan looked at Elder Zubo in shock, and also saw Qin Chen and Xiao and the others beside him. These days, he had been hearing that Elder Zubo was about to die. Now, he didn't look like he was about to die at all. These rumors are really killing people. At this time, he secretly rejoiced that he had not attacked Qin Chen and Xiao before, otherwise, with Elder Zubo's arrival, although he was the pavilion manager, how could he compare to Elder Zubo's status? Open the difficult tablet immediately, Zubo said to Guzan without any doubt. Guzan was stunned. Elder Zubo, what did you say? He suspected that he had misheard. Open the difficult tablet, didn't you hear me? Zubo glanced at Guzan and said lightly. Guzan's expression changed. This was going to be a big deal. What was wrong with this Elder Zubo? After being seriously ill for this period of time, it was said that he was severely suppressed by Elder Jin Yuan, and even his eldest disciple was placed under house arrest. Now that his condition had improved a bit, could it be that he couldn't accept reality and had gone crazy? Elder Zubo, are you sure? Guzan couldn't help but remind him. How is it? As long as there is an elder as a guarantor, one can challenge the difficult tablet. As an elder of the Pill Pavilion, don't I even have this right? Zubo looked at Guzan coldly, his eyes icy. Of course not. Guzan wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Since Elder Zubo, you insist on challenging the difficult stone wall, then as the steward of the pavilion, I naturally have no reason to stop you. However, please consider the consequences carefully, Elder Zubo. Guzan was certain that as soon as Elder Zubo challenged the difficult stone wall, he would definitely alarm Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng. When that time came, Elder Zubo wouldn't gain anything, and he, the steward of the pavilion, wouldn't have a good outcome either. There's no need for Steward Guzan to worry about that, Zubo said indifferently. Seeing that Zubo was unyielding, Guzan had no choice but to grit his teeth and open the entrance to the difficult stone wall. Elder Zubo, please consider this carefully. Once you enter, the challenge bell will ring. If you want to turn back then, it will be impossible, Guzan warned, his face filled with apprehension. At this time, the commotion here had already attracted many alchemists and customers in the hall. Some people who knew about the difficult stone wall were stunned when they learned that Elder Zubo was going to challenge it. All of them looked over in astonishment. Some people who didn't know about the difficult stone wall were also shocked after hearing the explanations of others. Elder Zubo of the Pill Pavilion is preparing to challenge the position of Pavilion Master. This is a major event. In just a moment, almost all the alchemists in the Pill Pavilion's hall had gathered around, discussing and exclaiming in an uproar. Steward Guzan looked at Zubo nervously, eagerly hoping that Zubo would change his mind. Young friend, the entrance to the difficult stone wall is already open. If you want to challenge it, please do so as soon as possible, Zubo said, seeing more and more martial artists gathering around. What? Elder Zubo, isn't it you who is going to challenge the difficult stone wall, but this kid? Guzan was stunned and hurriedly said. Yes, it's this little brother Qin Chen, with me as his guarantor, Elder Zubo nodded. No way. Guzan's expression changed immediately, and he said angrily. He previously thought that it was Zhu Bo who was going to challenge the difficult stone wall. Although it was a bit abrupt, Zhu Bo was at least a ranked elder in the Pill Pavilion. Whether he passed or not, he could at least explain it to the pavilion master. But now, it's actually Qin Chen, a disciple from the Five Nations, who is challenging the difficult stone wall. There's no way he, Gu Zun, would agree to that. Isn't this a joke? How could a Tier 3 alchemist challenge the difficult stone wall? If he really let him in, what would he, Gu Zun, be making of the successive pavilion masters of the Pill Pavilion? Could it be said that the cultivation of the successive pavilion masters of the Pill Pavilion is inferior to a Tier 3 alchemist? If the pavilion master finds out, he might even kill him in a fit of rage. Why not? According to the rules of the Pill Pavilion, the difficult stone wall only requires the challenger to be an alchemist and have a guarantor of elder level or above from the Pill Pavilion. Although this child is an alchemist from the Five Nations, the Pill Pavilions of the Five Nations are under the jurisdiction of my Great Wei Dynasty Pill Pavilion. His alchemist badge was also issued by my Great Wei Dynasty Pill Pavilion. Now, with me as his guarantor, why can't he challenge it? Ridiculous. Zhu Bo looked at Gu Zun coldly. Gu Zun was speechless. Indeed, according to the rules, Qin Chen was qualified to challenge, but in practice, this was clearly too much of a joke. Elder Zhu Bo, that's what you say, but this child is just a disciple from the Five Nations and is only Tier 3. Letting him challenge the difficult stone wall, wouldn't that be treating the difficult stone wall as a child's play? Gu Zun said anxiously, almost going crazy. It doesn't matter, little brother, go in, Zhu Bo said directly to Qin Chen, too lazy to pay attention to Gu Zun. In fact, without Zhu Bo's instructions, Qin Chen had already walked towards the entrance of the difficult stone wall. Gu Zun was so anxious that he wanted to step forward to stop him, but he was instantly blocked by Zhu Zheng. With this delay, he saw Qin Chen had already entered the challenge room of the difficult stone wall, his figure disappearing from sight. Dong. The next moment, a loud bell rang throughout the entire Pill Pavilion. The bell sound was deep, heavy, and extremely penetrating. It not only spread throughout the Pill Pavilion in an instant, but even many buildings outside the Pill Pavilion could hear it clearly, its sound resounding for 3 miles. It's over. Gu Zun's face turned pale, his legs went weak, and he almost collapsed. The bell sound just now was the sound that triggered the difficult stone wall, which was equivalent to telling everyone in the Pill Pavilion that someone was going to challenge the difficult stone wall and challenge the pavilion master. Once the bell rang, the challenge of the difficult stone wall was considered to have begun, and no one could stop it, not even the current pavilion master. Shua, shua, shua. Along with the ringing of the bell, the entire Pill Pavilion was alarmed. In an instant, powerful figures with extraordinary auras appeared in the hall, a dark mass of people. These were some elders who were in seclusion refining pills in the Pill Pavilion. Hearing the bell, they rushed over in time. What's going on? At this time, outside the Pill Pavilion, Yi Chen and the others who had left earlier were obediently following several elders with extraordinary momentum, respectfully entering the Pill Pavilion. They all heard the bell and revealed surprised expressions. Master, what was that sound just now? Walking at the forefront was Elder Jin Yuan, who had come to stand up for Yi Chen after receiving Yi Chen's message. It seems to be the bell of the difficult stone wall. Jin Yuan and several elders beside him exchanged glances, their eyes revealing surprise. They hurriedly entered the Pill Pavilion and came to the place where everyone was watching. Zhu Bo, how could he? Seeing Zhu Bo standing at the door, a trace of gloom flashed in Jin Yuan's eyes, along with a hint of surprise. Didn't the Leng family say that Zhu Bo wouldn't live for a few more days? How is he standing here so lively now? Jin Yuan was shocked and resentful, and he quickly walked forward. Suddenly, the entire hall of the Pill Pavilion was overcrowded and noisy. Those elders who had just arrived after hearing the bell were not clear about what had happened, and their faces were filled with surprise and doubt as they prepared to step forward and inquire. Who? A palpitating aura suddenly came from above everyone's heads. Immediately afterward, an old man wearing a white alchemist robe and exuding a terrifying aura appeared in everyone's eyes. Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng. Seeing this person, almost all the alchemists with considerable status on the field swayed and their hearts jumped. This person was the current pavilion master of the Great Wei Dynasty Pill Pavilion, Zhuo Qingfeng, who was usually elusive and rarely showed his face. At this time, his face was filled with anger, and his expression was terribly gloomy. He instantly came to the center of the crowd. Greetings, Pavilion Master. Including Zhu Bo, all the elders' faces changed drastically, and they respectfully saluted, not even daring to breathe loudly. What's going on? Waving his hand, ignoring everyone's salutes, Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng asked in a cold voice, his tone containing terrifying anger. He was previously in seclusion refining pills, and his condition was excellent. Suddenly, he heard a loud bell ringing, which instantly startled him. The furnace of pills he was refining was also destroyed in an instant. How could he not be furious? But now, seeing the bell of difficulty ringing at the stone wall of riddles, his heart was even more shocked and enraged. The stone wall of riddles was an extremely special place within the Pill Pavilion, rarely opened even once in decades. Once it was opened, it usually meant someone was challenging the Pavilion Master. His pill refinement had already been disturbed and failed, and now someone was challenging his position. One could imagine his mood. His gloomy gaze seemed to carry a murderous aura, causing everyone present to hold their breath, nervously looking at Guzan. Reporting to the Pavilion Master, Elder Zhu Bo brought a Five Nations alchemist to challenge the stone wall of riddles. This subordinate couldn't stop them, which is why I disturbed you, Pavilion Master. This subordinate deserves to die. Guzan explained tremulously, his voice sounding as if he was about to cry. Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng of the Pill Pavilion had a volatile temper and acted eccentrically, often going his own way. This could be seen from how he, as the Pavilion Master, disregarded the Pill Pavilion's affairs and never showed his face. If he angered Zhuo Qingfeng, he could be stripped of his position as the Pavilion Manager in a matter of minutes. He could only push the blame onto Zhu Bo. The Five Nations alchemist brought by Zhu Bo, challenging the stone wall of riddles. Zhuo Qingfeng frowned, his anger building up as he coldly looked at Zhu Bo. This was a challenge to his position. Boom! A terrifying aura instantly rushed towards Zhu Bo. Zhu Bo had just recovered from his injuries. How could he withstand Zhuo Qingfeng's aura pressure? He immediately groaned, took 2 steps back, and felt a sweetness in his throat, almost spitting out a mouthful of blood. He hurriedly explained, reporting to the Pavilion Master, this subordinate wouldn't dare. It's just that my friend is my benefactor, and he wants to challenge the stone wall of riddles. This subordinate couldn't refuse. I hope the Pavilion Master will understand. Moreover, my friend is a genius alchemist, and he must have his reasons for wanting to challenge the stone wall of riddles. Zhu Bo secretly lamented in his heart. Although he didn't know why Qin Chen insisted on challenging the stone wall of riddles, he could only answer this way in the face of the enraged Zhuo Qingfeng. Genius alchemist. Zhuo Qingfeng snorted coldly. On the side, Elder Jin Yuan and the others were stunned. Recalling the news that Yi Chen had brought back earlier, they couldn't help but look surprised. Could it be? A thought surfaced in their minds, and they were all dumbfounded. Could it be that Zhu Bo had vouched for the Qin Chen to enter the stone wall of riddles? The gloomy mood, which had been caused by Zhu Bo's recovery, instantly cleared up like clouds dispersing and the sun emerging. They couldn't help but feel ecstatic. Zhu Bo, Zhu Bo, you really are bold. You actually dare to do such a thing. Ha ha ha, this is simply courting death. Overjoyed, Jin Yuan couldn't wait for Zhuo Qingfeng to speak. Eager to show his loyalty, he immediately stepped forward and pointed at Zhu Bo, roaring angrily, Zhu Bo, how dare you? You actually dare to challenge the stone wall of riddles. Is this because you are dissatisfied with the Pavilion Master and want to replace him? His expression was furious, as if he was the one who had been insulted. His whole body trembled with excitement. As soon as Jin Yuan said this, Zhuo Qingfeng's expression turned cold again. Indeed, if an elder wanted to challenge the stone wall of riddles, it usually meant they were dissatisfied with him as the Pavilion Master and wanted to replace him. Otherwise, they could have notified him in advance for discussion. Pavilion Master, don't listen to Jin Yuan's nonsense. This subordinate doesn't mean that. Zhu Bo was shocked and angry. If it's not that, then what is it? Jin Yuan sneered. Not wanting to miss the opportunity he had finally seized, he hurriedly cupped his fist towards Zhuo Qingfeng and said, "Pavilion Master, Zhu Bo has been managing the Pill Pavilion's affairs for many years. In recent years, he has almost treated the Pill Pavilion as his own home. It seems that he thinks the Pill Pavilion is his family's property, so he wants to replace the Pavilion Master. HMPH. It seems he has been planning this for a long time." "Jin Yuan, you're talking nonsense." Zhu Bo roared in anger, his gaze gloomy. This Jin Yuan was so ruthless. He had poisoned him before, and now he was kicking him when he was down in front of the Pavilion Master, clearly wanting to put him to death. "I'm talking nonsense," Jin Yuan sneered. "Then tell me, why did you let someone barge into the Pill Pavilion's stone wall of riddles today? Don't tell me it was just on a whim, right?" At this time, Zhuo Qingfeng's expression was incomparably terrifying, and he looked at Zhu Bo as if he were looking at a dead man. He said coldly, "A genius alchemist from the 5 nations. Hey, Zhu Bo, it seems you have been planning this for a long time, even preparing someone to deal with me. However, I have been in the Dewei dynasty for many years, but I have never heard of the 5 nations. Which 5 nations are these? Could it be that 5 top dynasties from my 100 alliances have formed a 5 nations alliance?" Zhuo Qingfeng sneered. Although he had been in the Dewei dynasty Pill Pavilion for some years, he had been in seclusion for many years and was too lazy to manage the affairs of the 100 alliances. Therefore, he had never even heard of the Northwest 5 nations, and mistakenly thought that the 5 nations everyone was talking about was an alliance of 5 dynasties. After all, since Zhu Bo dared to let the other party challenge him, the other party must at least be a top alchemist from a top dynasty in the 100 alliances. Other people simply didn't have the qualifications to challenge him. Reporting to the Pavilion Master, "My friend is a genius alchemist from the extremely remote Northwest 5 nations within the Xuanzu territory of my Dewei dynasty, not an alchemist from my 100 alliances." Knowing that the Pavilion Master had misunderstood, Zhu Bo hurriedly explained. "The Northwest 5 nations in a remote area within the Xuanzu territory." Zhuo Qingfeng was stunned, seeming to have a slight impression. That place was an extremely remote small place. It was said that even a martial ancestor expert couldn't be found there. An alchemist from that place. Yes, and my friend doesn't mean to challenge the Pavilion Master. Please don't misunderstand, Pavilion Master. Qin Chen had said that his challenge to the stone wall of riddles wasn't to challenge the current Pavilion Master. Although Zhu Bo didn't know what Qin Chen's purpose was, he believed that Qin Chen would never lie to him. "Doesn't mean to challenge me. Then what is his purpose in challenging the stone wall of riddles?" Zhuo Qingfeng felt a little dizzy. "Wait, you said that guy is an alchemist from the 5 nations, the Northwest 5 nations in the Xuanzu territory. I remember that the Pill Pavilion there is also under the jurisdiction of my Dewei dynasty Pill Pavilion, right? It seems that a rank 3 peak alchemist can go to one of the nations to serve as the Pavilion Master. Then what rank is that genius alchemist who is challenging now? To dare to directly barge into the stone wall of riddles and answer the questions, he must at least be a rank 6 late-stage alchemist. Could the 5 nations produce such a strong alchemist?" Zhuo Qingfeng was confused, frowning, and feeling dizzy. Zhu Bo wiped his cold sweat and said, "Pavilion Master, my friend's certified alchemist rank is rank 3, but this person has extremely high talent. This subordinate even recommended this person as a candidate for my Dewei dynasty's upcoming 100 Alliances alchemist competition. A rank 3 alchemist dares to challenge me." Zhuo Qingfeng's forehead was covered in black lines as he said coldly, "Zhu Bo, are you joking? This subordinate wouldn't dare joke about it. If the Pavilion Master doesn't believe me, you can ask Steward Guzan. This subordinate absolutely has no intention of challenging the Pavilion Master," Zhu Bo said anxiously. "Is that so?" Zhuo Qingfeng was speechless, the anger in his heart gathering even more, as he coldly looked at Guzan. Seeing Zhuo Qingfeng look over, Guzan hurriedly said, "Yes, the person who entered the difficult stone wall challenge is indeed a grade 3 genius alchemist from the 5 nations, and is less than 20 years old. This subordinate also tried to dissuade Elder Zhu Bo before, but Elder Zhu Bo insisted on doing so, and this subordinate couldn't do anything about it." Guzan's palms were full of cold sweat from nervousness, and he was almost crying. What the heck is going on? If he wasn't punished after this matter ended, he wouldn't want to be the steward of this pavilion even if he was beaten to death. Being on tenterhooks like this is simply deadly. Pavilion Master, this elder Zhu Bo is so bold as to let a grade 3 alchemist enter the difficult stone wall, clearly showing dissatisfaction towards you. Pavilion Master, Jin Yuan said immediately upon seeing this. That's right. Pavilion Master, think about it. What consequences will occur if the news here spreads to other dynasties' pill pavilions, or our superior pill pavilion? You will definitely be ridiculed and your reputation will be ruined. Zhu Bo is using such a despicable tactic. Elder Wu Rufeng, who was beside Jin Yuan, also hurriedly spoke. He and Jin Yuan were already birds of a feather, and he also had a hand in framing Zhu Bo, so naturally he took this opportunity to kick him while he was down. Upon hearing this, Zhuo Qingfeng's heart sank suddenly. After he was demoted to the Dewei Dynasty Pill Pavilion, he had been painstakingly researching alchemy all these years, hoping that one day he could return to the Batian region Pill Pavilion. However, today, after that alchemist from the 5 nations entered the difficult stone wall and answered randomly on it, it would be fine if what he said made some sense, but if he was simply writing nonsense, once the answers were submitted to the Batian region Pill Pavilion, he, the pavilion master of this pill pavilion, would definitely be criticized and punished by the superior pill pavilion. In that case, his chances of returning to the Batian region pill pavilion in the future would probably be even slimmer. For a moment, Zhuo Qingfeng was extremely shocked and furious. Someone come, this Zhu Bo is abusing his authority as an elder. First put him under house arrest and temporarily strip him of his position as an elder, and after this difficult stone wall matter is over, I will make a decision. Zhuo Qingfeng coldly shouted at the surrounding elders in shock and anger, his gaze towards Zhu Bo filled with coldness and iciness. Pavilion Master, this subordinate absolutely has no such intention, please. Pavilion Master, see clearly, Zhu Bo said anxiously, his face pale. Yes. Pavilion Master, you've misunderstood my master. Xiao Ya also became anxious. Pavilion Master, the matter hasn't been clarified yet. Is it a bit rash to directly strip Elder Zhu Bo of his elder status? Why don't we wait until that kid comes out before making a decision? An elder who had a good relationship with Elder Zhu Bo also stepped forward to speak up for Zhu Bo. Elder Gongyang Ju, Elder Zhu Bo has the ambition of a wolf, deliberately trying to harm the Pavilion Master, and even wants someone to challenge the Pavilion Master's position, forcing the Pavilion Master to step down. You're still speaking up for him at this time. Could it be that you also participated in this difficult stone wall matter? Jin Yuan snorted coldly and immediately spoke. Gongyang Ju had an extremely good relationship with Zhu Bo, and even after Zhu Bo became seriously ill, he still hadn't submitted to his side. Jin Yuan had long wanted to use him as an example, and now that he had seized this opportunity, he immediately framed him. Elder Jin Yuan, what nonsense are you talking about? This old man just feels that Elder Zhu Bo has always been extremely respectful to the Pavilion Master. How could he do such a thing? There must be a reason for this, Gongyang Ju said angrily. A reason? Who knows? Pavilion Master, this Gongyang Ju is still speaking up for Elder Zhu Bo now, clearly showing dissatisfaction with your orders. In this subordinate's opinion, this person is also worthy of suspicion. Why not take down this Elder Gongyang Ju as well and investigate him thoroughly? Elder Jin Yuan said coldly. Immediately, several elders, including Wu Rufeng, who were on good terms with Elder Jin Yuan, also spoke up one after another. You. Gongyang Ju trembled with anger. These guys clearly wanted to use this opportunity to frame them. Alright, strip this Elder Gongyang Ju of his elder status as well, and after the investigation, I will make a decision, Zhuo Qingfeng said coldly, as he was currently in a fit of anger. At this time, he even felt that the reason why he hadn't appeared in the Pill Pavilion for a while was because these elders of the Pill Pavilion were no longer in awe of him, and they were actually doing such things. It was simply lawless. And that alchemist from the 5 nations, a mere grade 3 alchemist, dared to challenge the difficult stone wall. He was too bold. Did he really think that the difficult stone wall was connected to the superior Pill Pavilion, and he wouldn't dare to touch him? Pavilion Master, now that the kid from the 5 nations has already triggered the difficult stone wall, regardless of whether he answered the questions or not, the difficult stone wall's message must have already been sent to headquarters. Should this subordinate go in now, capture that kid, and severely punish him directly. Elder Qin Yuan took a step forward and said coldly. In his heart, he was ecstatic. This was a good opportunity. He had heard that Qin Chen was the champion of the ancient southern capital, and the inheritance secret manual on him must be the most terrifying. Taking this opportunity to capture him and exchange him with the Leng family would kill two birds with one stone. Once Qin Chen and Zhu Bo fell into his hands, with Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng's temper, wouldn't he be able to control this pill pavilion with one hand in the future? Elder Qin Yuan's heart was so excited that he couldn't even suppress it. No. Unexpectedly, Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng refused decisively. When the bell rings and the difficult stone wall is opened, a message will be immediately sent to headquarters. It means that the Batian region branch already knows that the difficult stone wall here has been opened. If I use my authority to directly interrupt the answering of the questions, it's very likely that I will anger headquarters. Zhu Bo arbitrarily opened the difficult stone wall and let such a kid in, which had already made him lose face in the Batian region Pill Pavilion branch. If he violated the Pill Pavilion's rules again and directly interrupted the kid's answering of the questions, he was afraid that the Batian region branch, upon learning the truth, would directly cut off his hope of returning to the superior Pill Pavilion. After all, the rules of the difficult stone wall were set by the Pill Pavilion headquarters of the martial domain. Being challenged by a little brat would only result in a loss of face at most, but if he violated the rules set by the Pill Pavilion headquarters, once it was exposed, even his master's sect wouldn't be able to protect him. Then what should we do? We can't let that kid answer randomly and ruin your reputation, Pavilion Master, Elder Qin Yuan pretended to be concerned. In fact, his purpose was to capture Qin Chen as soon as possible, to avoid any mishaps. What can we do? Once the difficult stone wall is opened, we can only wait for him to finish answering. If he answers randomly, even if I'm unhappy, I can only accept it, Zhuo Qingfeng said with a livid face. He could already foresee the furious expression on headquarters' face when they saw those messy answers. Oh. Right. Suddenly, as if remembering something, Zhuo Qingfeng said to Qin Yuan, Elder Qin Yuan, leave the matters here to you for now. After that brat comes out, you must capture him immediately and wait for me to return and deal with these people. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhuo Qingfeng's figure flashed and he soared towards the top of the Pill Pavilion. Seeing Zhuo Qingfeng leave, everyone's faces showed confusion. Where is Pavilion Master going? Shouldn't he stay here and wait for Qin Chen to come out at this time? Everyone could see that Zhuo Qingfeng was truly enraged, directly dismissing two elders, and even Zhu Bo, an elder with real power. This was the first time such a thing had happened in Zhuo Qingfeng's history as Pavilion Master. Logically speaking, Zhuo Qingfeng should be eagerly waiting for Qin Chen to come out, so why did he suddenly leave? While everyone was puzzled, Elder Qin Yuan was ecstatic. As soon as Zhuo Qingfeng left, he sneered and came to Elder Zhu Bo, scoffing, Elder Zhu Bo, haven't you been ill recently? You look quite energetic. You even have the leisure to challenge the difficult stone wall. Hee. If you were a bit more sensible and stayed obediently in your own refining room, that would have been great. Why did you have to come out and seek death? Now you've offended the Pavilion Master. Let's see how you'll fight with me in the future. Qin Yuan was smug and excited, not even caring that there were so many elders and alchemists present. Originally, because of Zhu Bo's serious illness, he had already grasped most of the power in the Pill Pavilion, and had also won over many elders. Now, Zhu Bo had even offended the Pavilion Master and was directly suspended from his position as elder. In Qin Yuan's view, Zhu Bo was completely unqualified to compete with him. Bah! Qin Yuan, you despicable villain, just you wait, I won't let this go. Zhu Bo looked at Qin Yuan coldly and said in a cold voice. Oh. Your temper is not small. Qin Yuan sneered, and then his expression suddenly turned cold. Men, take down Elder Zhu Bo and the people around him. Hold them here, I want to see how you can still be stubborn and not let this go with me. As soon as Qin Yuan finished speaking, elders and guards of the Pill Pavilion immediately stepped forward to capture Zhu Bo and the others. Try touching my eldest brother. Zhu Zheng roared in anger, his whole body filled with murderous intent. This person doesn't seem to be from our pill pavilion, right? Jin Yuan narrowed his eyes and said with a sinister smile, Elder Zhu Bo, I heard that this person is your second brother, a famous adventurer in the imperial city. Tell me, if he makes a move, how should I deal with him? With a sneer, Jin Yuan scoffed, what are you all waiting for? Take them all down. If there is any resistance, kill them without mercy. Immediately, the group of elders and guards stepped forward again. Zhu Zheng was furious and was about to make a move, but he heard Zhu Bo say in a deep voice, second brother, don't resist. Eldest brother. Zhu Zheng was anxious. This is the pill pavilion, don't let Jin Yuan catch you by the handle. Zhu Bo shook his head, his eyes full of helplessness. He knew very well that now that the pavilion master had entrusted the right to deal with them to Jin Yuan in front of everyone, if they really dared to resist, Jin Yuan would be ruthless and directly kill them, and no one would speak up for them. Immediately, Zhu Bo and his group were captured by many guards and held aside, like prisoners, unable to move. A trace of regret flashed in Jin Yuan's eyes. He was originally waiting for Zhu Bo and the others to resist at all costs in anger, so he could directly strike and kill them. Who knew that the other party would be so cowardly, not even daring to resist, and obediently being captured, which instead eliminated the reason for him to take action. For a time, everyone could only wait here, staring at the gate of the difficult stone wall, waiting for Qin Chen to finish answering the questions, and then capture him. By the way, if that brat is answering questions on the difficult stone wall, can we see it from here? At this time, someone in the crowd asked. Of course we can. An elder in the crowd nodded. The questions on the difficult stone wall are normally hidden from outsiders, and are only open to elders of the pill pavilion. But if someone challenges the difficult stone wall, it will be directly displayed on the wall after the answer is completed, and everyone will be able to see the answer at that time. After the answer is completed, someone asked in confusion. That's right. If the answer is not completed, it means that the other party has not confirmed the answer and there is still a possibility of modification, so generally the final answer will appear after the answer is completed, but there is also an exception. In the pill pavilion's monitoring room, you can see the process of this person answering the questions, but only the pavilion master can enter the monitoring room that can cover the difficult stone wall. Speaking of this, the elder suddenly paused. Pavilion master left in a hurry just now, could it be that he went to the monitoring room to watch that brat answer the questions? Jin Yuan and the others were also stunned, looking at each other, this was really possible. After all, among the pill pavilion today, the pavilion master is the most concerned about whether that brat will write nonsense. Just as they guessed, Zhuo Qingfeng came to the main monitoring room of the pill pavilion as soon as possible, and directly transferred the formation monitoring in the difficult stone wall room. After seeing the picture in the difficult stone wall and Qin Chen's face, Zhuo Qingfeng felt dizzy and almost fainted. Although he learned from Guzan and others that Qin Chen was not old, he never expected that the person who challenged the difficult stone wall would be such a young teenager. This is not even 20 years old. Isn't he only 17 or 18 years old? Such a little brat also came to challenge the difficult stone wall. He is not here to answer questions, he is clearly here to make trouble. At this time, Zhuo Qingfeng could already imagine the expression of anger at the headquarters. The only thing that made him feel fortunate was that Qin Chen had not yet started answering the questions and seemed to be still observing the many questions over the years. And when Zhuo Qingfeng opened the monitoring formation, Qin Chen in the difficult stone wall room seemed to suddenly sense something, looked up at the surrounding monitoring formation, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The formation is opened. Does this mean that Zhuo Qingfeng, the pavilion master of this pill pavilion, is paying attention here? With a slight smile, Qin Chen, who had not been answering the questions, instantly began to answer. He first came to one of the questions and began to write quickly. This was a question about refining a certain 6th grade pill, which was a problem faced by a former pavilion master of the pill pavilion. This pill was only a mid-stage 6th grade pill, but it was rarely refined and belonged to the unpopular category. But according to the Dan Dao cultivation of the pill pavilion master, who was in the late stage of the 6th grade, refining this mid-stage 6th grade pill should not be a problem. As a result, he refined it many times, but he strangely found that after refining according to the pill formula, there would be flaws in the final stage of collecting the pill every time, and it was impossible to refine a complete pill. This problem troubled him for a long time, and he failed to solve it until he grew old, so he left it here and became a difficult problem. Later, several new Dan Pavilion masters also tried to refine it after taking office, but they also strangely discovered that it could not be refined successfully. Until now, this problem has not been solved. When Zhuo Qingfeng took office, he naturally came to this difficult stone wall to take a look and tried to refine this pill. The result was also failure. Now seeing Qin Chen actually answering on it, his expression immediately turned furious. He, a rank 3 alchemist, actually wants to answer a rank 6 pill refining question. Isn't this deliberately causing trouble? Although furious in his heart, he still couldn't help but look at the answer written by Qin Chen. The main function of the clear heart pill is to restrain the true energy riot caused by martial artists going berserk during cultivation, and at the same time, improve the human body's meridian's resistance to the riot of true energy. It mainly has two effects: suppressing violent true energy and improving the meridian's resistance. Among them, although the dream heart grass in the prescription is only an auxiliary material, its function is to perfectly integrate the main materials, mainly quiet spirit liquid, so that the medicinal properties of each other are completely combined. It can be said to be extremely important. However, dream heart grass also has an extremely serious characteristic, that is, its activity is extremely high. Under high temperature conditions, it can stimulate all medicinal properties in just 3 breaths. Once it exceeds 10 breaths, the medicinal properties will be lost, and exceeding 15 breaths will completely lose its effect. Therefore, the time to add dream heart grass must be around 3 breaths before collecting the pill. Once exceeded, it will lead to a decline in the efficacy of the clear heart pill, or even failure. However, the normal pill collection process for alchemists often exceeds 10 breaths. This is the reason why a perfect clear heart pill cannot be refined. In response, there are 2 ways to solve this problem. First, use the cold pill method for pill collection. Under non-high temperature conditions, the medicinal properties of dream heart grass will not be lost quickly, and a complete pill can be refined relatively easily. Second, add bitter orchid flower during pill collection. Bitter orchid flower can inhibit the activity of dream heart grass, allowing it to maintain its medicinal properties even at high temperatures, and it does not affect the formation of the clear heart pill, and can even improve the quality of the clear heart pill. Originally, Zhuo Qingfeng was extremely furious when he saw Qin Chen's answer, but after seeing the content of Qin Chen's answer, his whole person was completely stunned. Is it because of the activity of dream heart grass that the clear heart pill cannot be refined successfully? His eyes were dull, his mouth muttered, and his heart was like a stormy sea. Because in his deduction, the answer written by Qin Chen was actually very perfect. It didn't seem like scribbling randomly, but was full of reason. He even had a feeling that the reason why the Dan Pavilion masters of the Great Wei dynasty had not been able to refine the clear heart pill was precisely what Qin Chen had written. Huff. Subconsciously, a pill furnace appeared in Zhuo Qingfeng's hand, and at the same time, a large number of materials for refining the clear heart pill appeared in his hand. Under the surge of energy, Zhuo Qingfeng couldn't help but start refining the clear heart pill to verify the truth of Qin Chen's answer. Zhuo Qingfeng was originally a rank 6 peak alchemist, and the clear heart pill was only a rank 6 intermediate pill. With Zhuo Qingfeng's alchemy skills, the clear heart pill had already reached the most critical stage of pill collection after only half an incense stick. According to what this kid wrote, you only need to use the cold pill method to refine the clear heart pill. With a thought, Zhuo Qingfeng restrained his true fire, pinched his hand seals, causing the temperature of the pill furnace to drop rapidly in an instant. The cold pill method is a relatively remote pill collection technique, but it is not difficult. Basically, every alchemist knows it. It's just that the quality of the pills collected using the cold pill method is often worse, so there are not many alchemists who use this method for pill collection in actual refining. It is a pill collection method that is about to be eliminated. Buzz. Zhuo Qingfeng suddenly collected the pill. He saw a refreshing fragrance instantly coming from the monitoring room. Immediately afterward, 12 plump and round clear heart pills had already fallen into his hands. Success! His eyes widened, and Zhuo Qingfeng opened his mouth wide. The problem that the Dan Pavilion masters of the Great Wei dynasty had not been able to solve was actually solved by this kid. If he hadn't personally refined the clear heart pill, Zhuo Qingfeng wouldn't have dared to believe it was true. At this time, Zhuo Qingfeng already believed that Qin Chen was indeed not here to make trouble, as Elder Zhu Bochang had said. Putting aside everything else, just solving this one question was enough to show that this child had real skills and his alchemy skills were extremely terrifying. Once the answer is submitted and verified by the North Heaven Region Dan Pavilion branch, an honorary Pavilion Master token will be issued to this child immediately. In an instant, the anger in Zhuo Qingfeng's heart instantly dissipated by half. What is this kid doing? But the next moment, Zhuo Qingfeng was dumbfounded again. Normally speaking, Qin Chen had already finished answering the question here. He only needed to submit it at the end to be presented to the superior Dan Pavilion for verification. However, in the monitoring formation, Qin Chen suddenly erased the previous answer and did not submit it. What's going on? Could it be that this kid thinks there is something wrong with the answer he proposed? So he doesn't want to submit it? Zhuo Qingfeng was stunned, but he immediately felt it was impossible. A person who can answer such a question must have a very in-depth understanding of the clear heart pill. It is impossible to say that after answering it, he doesn't know whether the answer he submitted is correct or not. Just like the second method written by Qin Chen, although Zhuo Qingfeng only verified the first method and did not verify the second method. But he didn't need to try it at all, and he dared to be sure that Qin Chen's second method was absolutely correct and would definitely be able to refine the clear heart pill successfully. Just when Zhuo Qingfeng was surprised, he saw Qin Chen come to the second question again and start answering. This question was raised more than 50 years ago by a Dan Pavilion master during the refining process, when he couldn't control a Xuandan method no matter what. This Xuandan method belongs to the ancient Xuandan method, and this person also obtained it from a certain relic. However, according to the methods on the secret method, he tried many times but could not master it, so he could only make it public and gather ideas from everyone. Unfortunately, over the years, no one among the pavilion masters who took office after him has mastered this Xuandan method according to his secret method, so it has always remained on this difficult stone wall. When Zhuo Qingfeng took office, he was also extremely interested in this ancient Xuandan method and practiced it for a period of time, but unfortunately he also failed to master it and could only give up regretfully. Now seeing Qin Chen answering, his eyes widened immediately. The Soul Division Xuandan method is a very special one among the ancient Xuandan methods. It is mainly used for the refining of exotic pills. Its core is not about Xuandan, but about soul division. If you want to master its technique, you must achieve soul division in 2 places. This so-called soul division in 2 places is not simply multitasking, but requires the alchemist's mind to be left and right, in opposite ways, when performing the technique. Melt. Looking at the answers that Qin Chen kept writing, Zhuo Qingfeng's heart trembled wildly again. So that's how it is. This mind-dividing cyclone pill method requires the alchemist to perform it in opposite ways simultaneously. How could I not have thought of that before? While wearing a blank expression, Zhuo Qingfeng naturally began to cultivate. As soon as he started, the cyclone pill technique that he couldn't form no matter what, was instantly achieved. Heavens! Just what kind of person is this kid? Zhuo Qingfeng's heart trembled wildly, and he was almost dumbfounded. The records in this difficult stone wall are all problems that countless pavilion masters of the Pill Pavilion have been unable to solve over the years, yet this kid actually solved 2 of them in an instant. Is this a ghost? Moreover, according to the regulations of the Pill Pavilion headquarters, as long as the examinee can answer more than 2 questions correctly and obtain verification from the upper-level Pill Pavilion, they can immediately become the new Pavilion Master of the Great Wei Dynasty Pill Pavilion, replacing him. In other words, as long as Qin Chen is willing, he can replace him at any time and become the new Pavilion Master of the Pill Pavilion. At this time, Zhuo Qingfeng's heart was filled with surprise and worry. What surprised him was that Qin Chen was so young, yet his alchemy skills were so terrifying, even surpassing him, a peak 6th grade alchemist. If Qin Chen answered one question correctly, it could be considered a fluke, but answering 2 questions correctly could not be explained by luck. What worried him was that once Qin Chen submitted the answers to these 2 questions, he would instantly replace him and become the new pavilion master of the Pill Pavilion. And his wish to return to the North Heaven Domain Pill Pavilion branch would be completely impossible to realize. While he was shocked, Zhuo Qingfeng saw that after Qin Chen answered the second question, he also did not submit it, but erased the answer completely again, and came to the third question. What is this kid doing? Zhuo Qingfeng was shocked in his heart, and his eyes couldn't help but look at the answer written by Qin Chen. This look drove him crazy again. So that's how it is. The refining process of the essence returning pill is actually like this. No wonder I haven't been successful before. Idiot. I'm really an idiot. How could I not have seen such a simple reason? After answering the third question and erasing the answer, Qin Chen came to the fourth question. What? So such a medicinal herb needs to be added to the refining of the heavenly yuan pill. Oh right. How could I not have thought of that? Huh. Refining it like this. Let me think. It's simply a stroke of genius. Heavens. There is such a smart person in this world. This step is simply unimaginable for anyone but a genius. This question is actually so simple. Just change the order and it works. Heavens. How did this kid come up with it? The fourth question. The fifth question. The sixth question. Zhuo Qingfeng looked at the answers Yi Xuan wrote quickly, and his whole person was completely immersed in it. Besides shock, there was nothing else in his mind. Many of the answers written by Qin Chen were actually very simple, but they were like a layer of window paper. Before it was pierced, he couldn't see through it no matter what. Once it was pierced, he would feel that it was so simple. The so-called standing tall allows one to see far. Zhuo Qingfeng completely admired Qin Chen's alchemy skills at this moment. Don't underestimate the answers to these questions. Although they are simple and seem to be nothing, they can be broken with a single poke. But you must know that these questions are all difficult problems that have plagued many pavilion masters of the Great Wei Dynasty Pill Pavilion for hundreds of years. Many answers seem simple on the surface, but behind them, they represent extremely amazing alchemy skills and an extremely thorough understanding of alchemy. Not to mention the Great Wei Dynasty, even some alchemists in the North Heaven Domain branch of the higher forces he came from before, may not have a more thorough understanding of this young man in some aspects. Is this child really just an alchemist from the 5 nations? Impossible. Zhuo Qingfeng shook his head. Being able to answer so many questions cannot be described by luck. Behind this child, there must be an extremely terrifying alchemy master teaching him. Even the cultivation of that alchemy master must be above his master. While shocked in his heart, he saw Qin Chen suddenly stop in front of the last question on the difficult stone wall after answering so many questions. Zhuo Qingfeng's breathing stopped instantly. No way. His eyes widened, his heart pounded wildly, and even his thoughts seemed to freeze. This last question was the one he wrote when he came to this Great Wei Dynasty, a question about himself that had troubled him for many years. It can be said that this question is not only closely related to his alchemy, but also related to his future, his whole life. On the difficult stone wall, the last question only had a short line of words, which looked very simple. Innate mental weakness. Defective perception, leading to the soul shielding martial arts will perception, affecting the integration of high-level medicinal pill artistic conception, how to solve it. Standing in front of the difficult stone wall, Qin Chen carefully observed the question, then glanced at the monitoring formation that was turned on, and a faint smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Not surprisingly, this question should be the problem faced by the current pavilion master, Zhuo Qingfeng. He learned from Elder Zhu Bo that the current pavilion master of the Pill Pavilion, Zhuo Qingfeng, is from the North Heaven Domain, with a martial arts cultivation base as high as a half-step martial king, and an alchemy cultivation base as high as a peak 6th grade, and is the #1 alchemist in the Great Wei Dynasty. And after he came to the Great Wei Dynasty, his biggest dream was to break through to the martial king realm, become a 7th grade pill king, and return to the North Heaven Domain Pill Pavilion branch. However, over the years, the current pavilion master, Zhuo Qingfeng's martial arts cultivation base, has always been stuck at the half-step martial king realm, and the threshold cannot be crossed no matter what, and he has never been able to break through to the real 7th Order Martial King realm. And if he cannot break through to the 7th Order Martial King, then there is no need to talk about becoming a 7th grade Pill King. This is also the most troublesome thing for him. Qin Chen was still wondering before, how could an alchemist from the North Heaven domain branch be unable to break through to the Martial King after entering the half-step Martial King realm? This is simply a fantasy. Now that he saw this question, he suddenly understood. Martial artists must comprehend martial arts will to break through from martial venerable to martial king. Only when martial arts will is integrated into oneself can the Qi transform, so that true power can be transformed into more terrifying true essence, breaking this martial arts shackle and becoming the king among martial artists. This process is extremely difficult, and some martial artists may not be able to do it in their entire lives. And Duo Qingfeng was already a half-step martial king, so it can be said that he has already entered the door in terms of martial arts will. Next, he only needs to continuously deepen his understanding of martial arts will, and he should not be unable to break through. Now that he saw this question, he understood that Duo Qingfeng was actually born with mental weakness and defective perception. Such martial artists, even if they have high talent, can enter the door in terms of martial arts will and become a half-step martial king. However, because of the defective perception, the comprehended martial arts will cannot be continuously perfected, and many times, they will even go astray, leading to the inability to enter the martial king realm. And because of their innate mental weakness, when refining high-level medicinal pills, they cannot perfectly integrate the artistic conception of martial arts into the medicinal pills. Even if they break through to the martial king realm in the future, it will be 10 times more difficult to refine king-grade medicinal pills than ordinary alchemists. A martial artist who contracts this disease normally has to say goodbye to the martial king realm. However, since Duo Qingfeng was able to enter the half-step martial king realm, it shows that his talent is quite terrifying, and he also has a relatively deep background in the Northern Heaven region, having taken many natural treasures. Otherwise, it would have been impossible for him to enter the half-step martial king realm. It's just a pity that even if he enters the half-step martial king realm, it's useless if he can't solve the fundamental problem. This hurdle of the 7th level martial king will be like a chasm, firmly blocking him outside the martial king realm. Moreover, in a remote place like the Northern Heaven region, it is difficult to find a master alchemist who can solve it. However, being born with a weak spiritual power and a deficient perception is not unsolvable. Ordinary master alchemists cannot solve it, but for Qin Chen, it is not a difficult problem at all. In his previous life in the martial domain, he had seen many such cases, and almost the vast majority of them had already been resolved. It has even formed a fixed solution. Raising his hand, Qin Chen directly began to answer on the difficult questions wall. Solving this problem is even simpler. Congenital weakness of spiritual power and deficient perception are actually not a problem of spiritual power, nor a problem of the spiritual sea, but a deficiency in the acupoints of the human body and defects in the meridians that cause this situation. If you try to treat it from the perspective of enhancing spiritual power and improving perceptual sensitivity, it is equivalent to treating the symptoms but not the root cause. No matter how much effort you put in, it will be a waste of time in the end. Only by conditioning the defects in the body and eliminating them can the problem be solved easily. And if you want to solve the defects in the body, it is also very simple. Generally, the acupoints that cause weakness of spiritual power and deficient perception are often Tianqi, Baihui, and other acupoints in the brain. What the questioner needs to do is to first use the method of searching for acupoints with true essence to find the defective acupoints, and then use the corresponding true essence conditioning techniques to adjust the acupoints. In as little as 10 days and a half months, and as long as 2 or 3 months, all problems can be solved. Below is the method of searching for acupoints with true essence. Below, Qin Chen simply wrote down the method of searching for acupoints with true essence. Monitoring room. Duo Qingfeng stared unblinkingly at the answer on the difficult questions wall, his face pale, and his body even trembling slightly. Congenital weakness of spiritual power and deficient perception are not a problem of spiritual power, nor a problem of the spiritual sea, but a problem of human acupoints and meridians. This is simply too unexpected. No wonder I have been constantly searching for secret techniques and natural treasures over the years, wanting to enhance my spiritual power and enhance my perception, but it has never worked. It turned out to be like this. Seeing the answer written by Qin Chen, Zhuo Qingfeng felt as if he had been enlightened, and his whole body trembled uncontrollably. Although he had not yet verified it, Zhuo Qingfeng instinctively felt that Qin Chen's answer was very likely to have found the key point. There is also a method of searching for acupoints with true essence below. I'll try it first. With a thought, Zhuo Qingfeng immediately began to operate according to the method of searching for acupoints with true essence written by Qin Chen on the difficult questions wall. As soon as he operated it, he really felt that several acupoints in his brain were faintly stagnant, which was exactly the same as the defective state Qin Chen said. Really, it's actually true. Zhuo Qingfeng was completely stunned. If he was still somewhat doubtful about the answer Qin Chen had proposed before, then at this moment, he completely believed it. That's right. That kid said that as long as you use the corresponding method of conditioning true essence, you can completely cure the defect. Let me see, what method should I use to condition these acupoints? In his excitement, Zhuo Qingfeng took a long time to recover, and hurriedly looked at the monitoring array, but found that Qin Chen had not written down the method of conditioning true essence at all. After erasing the answer, he had already left the difficult questions wall and didn't know where he had gone. Not good. Don't let there be any conflicts. Thinking of the order he had given to Elder Jin Yuan when he left, that as long as the person answering the questions in the difficult questions wall came out, he would immediately capture the other party, Zhuo Qingfeng instantly broke out in a cold sweat. After so many years of painstaking research, the problem that could not be solved no matter what, now he finally saw hope. If because of his own order, he offended the master and made the other party angry, then he would really deserve to die 10,000 times. Immediately, Zhuo Qingfeng couldn't care about anything else, and rushed out of the monitoring room frantically, rushing towards the hall. At this time, in the hall of the Pill Pavilion, Elder Jin Yuan and others had been staring at the wall outside the difficult questions wall room for a long time. Elder Zhu Bo and others were also staring intently at the wall outside the difficult questions wall. After Qin Chen angered the pavilion master, all their hopes were placed on Qin Chen. As long as Qin Chen entered the difficult questions wall and answered a question correctly, it would mean that Qin Chen's challenge to the difficult questions wall was not to cause trouble. After the pavilion master understood the reason, although he would be angry, he would naturally not punish them too severely. Thinking of the terrifying detoxification attainments that Qin Chen had displayed before, Zhu Bo and others felt a glimmer of hope in their hearts. Not only them, but also the other alchemists and customers present were looking at the wall. They all wanted to see what level the genius alchemist from the 5 nations, who dared to openly challenge the difficult questions wall, hadn't dared to do such a thing. It was just that what made everyone depressed was that a minute passed, half a joss stick passed, and even half an hour passed, but not even a single answer appeared on the wall outside the difficult questions wall. This kid can't even answer a single question, right? Someone couldn't help but feel depressed. Is there any need to say that? You don't really think that a kid from the 5 nations can answer the questions on the difficult questions wall, do you? Do you really think the successive pavilion masters of the Pill Pavilion are idiots? Someone sneered. Even if he can't answer, he has to submit an answer since he went to challenge the difficult questions wall so confidently, right? Yeah. He went in and didn't submit any answers. Isn't this playing around? Everyone looked at the wall in front of them speechlessly. They felt extremely depressed in their hearts. Only Elder Jin Yuan was excited in his heart. The more Qin Chen didn't answer anything, the more it meant that the other party was deliberately causing trouble here. When the pavilion master was furious, how could Zhu Bo have a good time? It would be even more logical for him to attack Qin Chen, and it wouldn't attract any criticism. Just as everyone was discussing. With a creak, the door of the difficult questions wall opened, and Qin Chen walked out. Grab him. Elder Jin Yuan, who had been waiting for Qin Chen for a long time, was so excited that he couldn't add to it. He shouted loudly and rushed towards Qin Chen with a group of guards before anyone else could react. In Elder Jin Yuan's imagination, Qin Chen should be shocked when faced with his sudden attack, and then fight back desperately. However, What made him puzzled was that after seeing so many people in the hall, although the kid also showed a look of surprise on his face, he did not resist at all when faced with the capture by the Pill Pavilion guards and was instantly detained. The whole process was extremely calm, as if he had expected all of this. This kid, he's not even resisting. Seeing Qin Chen obediently captured, Elder Jin Yuan was momentarily stunned. This doesn't make sense. Even a roadside beggar, just leaving a place, would at least resist if suddenly captured, right? But this kid is so cooperative, as if he's visiting his own home, completely without any surprise. Not only was Elder Jin Yuan puzzled, but Xiao Ya was also stunned. She knew Qin Chen's strength very well. He could even kill Feng Yuan, the ancestor of the Feng family. If he really fought back, probably no one present, except for the pavilion master, could subdue him. But just now, facing Elder Jin Yuan and the others' attack, young Master Chen didn't resist at all, leaving Xiao Ya feeling extremely depressed and unable to understand. What are you doing? Why are you arresting me? Is this how the Pill Pavilion of the Great Wei dynasty treats alchemists? After being captured by a group of Pill Pavilion guards, Qin Chen spoke with a sneer, his voice deep, his face without any panic. Hee, kid. Even now, you're still pretending to be a big shot. At this moment, Yi Chen and the others walked up arrogantly, sneering as they approached Qin Chen. Kid, do you remember us? Yi Chen looked at Qin Chen arrogantly, his eyes as if looking at an ant, as arrogant as could be. I recognize you. Aren't you just a few scoundrels who insulted this young master earlier? Steward Gu Zun, is this how your Pill Pavilion operates? Qin Chen turned to look at Gu Zun, sneering as he spoke. You still have the nerve to say that? Gu Zun's forehead veins bulged, so angry that his lungs were about to explode. Knowing that this kid was going to challenge the difficult stone wall, he should have captured him directly when he clashed with Yi Chen. Now it's good, he's angered the pavilion master, and he doesn't know how to explain it. Kid, you're very arrogant. Elder Jin Yuan sneered as he approached Qin Chen, scrutinizing him. He had heard of Qin Chen's name long ago, but this was the first time he had seen the real person. Who are you? Qin Chen glanced at him sideways, coldly snorting, by what right are you arresting me? Ha ha ha, by what right? I am Jin Yuan, an elder of the Pill Pavilion, and it's because you and Elder Zhu Bo recklessly violated the rules of my Pill Pavilion, causing trouble in my Pill Pavilion's difficult stone wall. I am capturing you today, and you have nothing to say. Jin Yuan looked at Qin Chen coldly. A useless person from a small kingdom dares to act wildly in my Great Wei Dynasty Pill Pavilion. Do you really think this is your garbage place of a small kingdom? Qin Chen's eyes turned cold. What did you say? What? Didn't you hear me clearly? I said, you are just a piece of trash, and you will pay the price for acting wildly in my Great Wei Dynasty Pill Pavilion. Very good. I've remembered it. Qin Chen looked at Jin Yuan coldly. I hope you remember what you just said. If this young master doesn't make you kneel down and eat those words back today, I won't believe it. Kneel down and eat them back. A hint of cold light immediately shot out from Jin Yuan's eyes, and he sneered, just you. Master, why waste words with him? This kid dared to attack your disciple before. Let your disciple teach him a good lesson first. Let him know what kind of place this is. Yi Chen walked up and kicked Qin Chen fiercely, sending Qin Chen flying out and falling heavily to the ground. A footprint instantly appeared on his robe. Yi Chen, what are you doing? Zhu Bo and the others' expressions changed drastically, and they all wanted to stand up, their bodies exuding coldness. All of you, squat down properly. The guards behind them immediately held them down firmly, and Elder Wu Rufeng even sneered. Elder Zhu Bo, are you trying to disobey the pavilion master's orders? You should consider the consequences carefully. You, Zhu Bo and the others looked angry, but they were full of helplessness. And in the hall, after Qin Chen was kicked down, he didn't say anything, just looked at Yi Chen coldly, a sneer outlining his lips. With his cultivation, how could he not dodge Yi Chen's kick? It's just that he didn't want to dodge. Although the other party only kicked him once, he would definitely make the other party repay him 100-fold later. You still dare to glare at me, are you looking for death? His eyes turned cold, and Yi Chen rushed forward angrily, about to attack again. Yi Chen, stop. Don't rush to deal with this kid. Wait for the pavilion master to come back. Jin Yuan shouted coldly. Now that Qin Chen has been captured, he is already in his grasp. Before the pavilion master returns, he naturally doesn't need to ruin his image in the pavilion master's eyes. Anyway, this kid entered the difficult stone wall and didn't answer a single question, clearly here to cause trouble. If the pavilion master really goes to the monitoring room, he will naturally know all of this kid's actions. When he is enraged, won't he be at my disposal? Why be in such a hurry? Men, take this kid and Elder Zhu Bo together, and wait for the pavilion master to come back before making a decision. Elder Jin Yuan waved his hand, and immediately someone escorted Qin Chen and Zhu Bo and the others together, squatting in the corner, under strict supervision. This feeling of the entire pill pavilion listening to his orders made Jin Yuan extremely enjoyable. Young Master Chen, you. Seeing Qin Chen also being escorted over, Xiao Ya sighed. Is this the method Qin Chen was talking about? Now that he hasn't answered a single question on the difficult stone wall, the pavilion master will definitely not spare them easily. Young Master Chen, you don't know, your challenge to the difficult stone wall has already alarmed our pill pavilion's pavilion master, and he's probably coming over soon. The pavilion master has a very volatile temper. If you are more sincere later, the pavilion master might let you off, seeing how young you are, but falling into. I'm afraid it's going to be difficult in Elder Jin Yuan's hands. Xiao Ya shook her head. Your pavilion master, has he been here just now? Qin Chen glanced at Xiao Ya. Yes. Xiao Ya smiled bitterly. You even challenged the difficult stone wall, how could you not alarm the pavilion master? So, you're being watched over here by Jin Yuan is also the pavilion master's order. Xiao Ya smiled bitterly and nodded. Qin Chen smiled faintly. Don't worry, I guarantee that your pavilion master will personally come to untie you later. Zhu Bo and the others shook their heads helplessly when they saw the confident expression on Qin Chen's face. This Qin Chen is really naive. Personally untie them. They didn't even think about it, they only hoped that the pavilion master wouldn't kill them in a fit of rage, that would be good enough. Just as they were thinking wildly, they heard a loud voice suddenly echoing in the hall. Where is he? Where is the person? Zhuo Qingfeng came to the hall like a gust of wind, his eyes, like searchlights, quickly searching the entire hall. Pavilion master, you've arrived. Your subordinate has captured the kid according to your orders. He is now being held with Elder Zhu Bo and the others. I don't know what you want to do with him. Elder Jin Yuan quickly stepped forward and asked respectfully. In fact, without him explaining, Zhuo Qingfeng had already seen Qin Chen, who was being watched over by many pill pavilion guards in the corner, at first glance, and his hurried expression suddenly changed. Junior Zhuo Qingfeng pays respects to master. With a sway of his body, Zhuo Qingfeng quickly came to Qin Chen and hurriedly saluted respectfully, his expression pious. Under the gaze of the crowd, Zhuo Qingfeng, who was usually high above in the pill pavilion and rarely seen, instantly bowed respectfully to Qin Chen, as if a disciple was paying respects to his master, his attitude pious. This scene instantly stunned everyone. What? Paying respects to a master? Everyone's eyes popped out, and they were all stunned in an instant, as if they had seen a ghost, desperately rubbing their ears. They all thought they had misheard. Master. Is Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng addressing this youth? Everyone felt their minds spinning, feeling that their thinking was not enough. Who is Zhuo Qingfeng? The Pavilion Master of the Pill Pavilion of the Dewei dynasty, a half-step martial king, a peak 6th grade alchemist, actually calling a youth from the 5 nations, less than 20 years old, a master, wouldn't this be a dream? Someone pinched the thigh hard, and immediately winced in pain, it hurt so much, this was definitely not a dream. But how could it be? Pavilion Master, what is this? Elder Jin Yuan was also stunned, the smug expression on his face solidified, he was almost going crazy. And Elder Zhu Bo and the others were also dizzy, their eyes almost falling to the ground. You are the Pavilion Master of this Pill Pavilion. Qin Chen looked up at Zhuo Qingfeng and said indifferently. This junior is. Zhuo Qingfeng said respectfully, cautiously. His heart was also collapsing at this moment. If he had known that this young man had a way to solve the stubborn ailment on his body, let alone breaking through the difficult stone wall, even if he demolished the pill pavilion, he would have let him do it. Now it's good. His own mouth was cheap. He had to let Elder Jin Yuan capture the other party, now that the other party is being held here. If he is resentful in his heart, whether he will give him an answer, even he himself is not sure. He wished he could chop himself in half. What are you guys doing standing there, not untying the master? Are you looking for death? Seeing the guards behind Qin Chen with their mouths wide open, their eyes bulging, Duo Qingfeng was trembling with anger, wishing he could slap these people to death. Are these guys idiots? They don't have any sense of sight. Didn't they see that he respectfully calls the other party master? Are they all standing here courting death? Yes. 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 The guards, led by Li Feng, were already scared silly. Hearing Duo Qingfeng's instructions, they hurriedly untied Qin Chen, and Duo Qingfeng himself also hurried forward, wanting to help Qin Chen up. Hold on. Qin Chen's eyes turned cold, and he looked at Duo Qingfeng coldly. Since your excellency is the pavilion master of the pill pavilion, then this young master would like to ask your excellency, I wonder what crime this young master has committed, that your excellency wants to send someone to take this young master down. Please your excellency give this young master an explanation. No. Misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. Master, please get up first before we talk. Duo Qingfeng hurriedly smiled apologetically, but in his heart, he hated Jin Yuan endlessly. Although he had instructed others to capture the other party as soon as they came out, he had not said that he wanted to detain the other party here. Right. Misunderstanding. Qin Chen said coldly. This young master doesn't think it's a misunderstanding. This elder Jin Yuan said that this order was given by your excellency, and this elder Jin Yuan's disciple previously insulted this young master for no reason in the pill pavilion, and after being taught a lesson by this young master, he directly called his master, Elder Jin Yuan, to capture this young master, and even attack this young master and beat him up. Is this also a misunderstanding? What? Someone dared to attack the master. Duo Qingfeng also saw the big footprint on Qin Chen's chest at this time, and his face suddenly changed. Jin Yuan, what is going on? Standing up, Duo Qingfeng shouted angrily at Elder Jin Yuan. No wonder the master is so angry. With Qin Chen's level of answering questions in the difficult stone wall before, it can be seen that there must be a terrible alchemist behind this son, even surpassing his master. Such a genius, coming to break through the difficult stone wall, perhaps is not looking at his position as pavilion master at all, but just wants to verify his alchemy level. Otherwise, the other party would not have clearly written the correct answer, but in the end directly erased it. But now, after breaking through the difficult stone wall, not only was he captured by the people of the pill pavilion, but he was also beaten. How could this be tolerated? At this time, Duo Qingfeng was also extremely angry, looking at Elder Jin Yuan coldly. What he didn't expect was that Qin Chen had had a conflict with Elder Jin Yuan's disciple before Qin Chen broke through the difficult stone wall. Moreover, although he had personally given the order to capture Qin Chen before, he had not given the order to beat Qin Chen. It was clear that Elder Jin Yuan was taking revenge for personal grudges, using this opportunity to retaliate against the master. Being stared at by Duo Qingfeng's cold gaze, Elder Jin Yuan panicked. Pavilion master, it was this kid who was arrogant when he came out before, and the disciple was angry for a while, so he moved his hand slightly. Moreover, this son is just an ant from the Northwest 5 nations. Pavilion master, are you mistaken? Elder Jin Yuan was almost going crazy now. He knew Qin Chen's origin very well, from the Darky Kingdom in the 5 nations, the champion of the Gunan capital competition, although he also had some talent, and his cultivation was not bad. But he was clearly just an ant from the 5 nations. How could Pavilion Master Duo Qingfeng call him master in the blink of an eye? What is going on? Pa! A loud slap slapped heavily on Jin Yuan's face, directly sending him flying several meters away. Ant! You dare to call the master an ant? If the master is an ant, then what are you? Dregs. As a mere elder, what qualifications do you have to call people ants? I told you to take good care of the master, but not only did you tie him up like this, but you also dared to beat the master. Who the hell gave you the right? Like a thunderous roar, erupting from Zhuo Qingfeng's mouth, like a tsunami, shocking everyone on the field, they were all going crazy. What the hell is going on? The previously majestic elder Jin Yuan, now covering his face, lying on the ground like a dog, was also stunned. Zhu Bo, Zhu Zheng, Xiao Ya and others were also confused. Zhuo Qingfeng looked at Jin Yuan coldly. At first, he didn't have any opinion on Jin Yuan, and even thought that his order had harmed him. But after learning that there was a conflict between Qin Chen and Jin Yuan, Zhuo Qingfeng's heart was icy cold. This Jin Yuan actually dared to use his order to take revenge for personal grudges, and even dared to call the master an ant when he had clearly offended the master. This was clearly trying to destroy the relationship between himself and the master. He deserved to be beaten. Master, there must be a misunderstanding about what happened before. Your Excellency, breaking through the difficult stone wall is a normal behavior stipulated by the Pill Pavilion. It was this junior who did not handle it well and made a mistake. Please don't take it to heart. After slapping Elder Jin Yuan, Zhuo Qingfeng immediately came to Qin Chen's side, hurriedly helping Qin Chen up, while busy untying Qin Chen. His attitude was as respectful as it could be. Hold on. Qin Chen looked coldly at Zhuo Qingfeng and said indifferently, Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng, this young master is not deliberately targeting you, but this elder Jin Yuan was arrogant and domineering before. Without saying a word, he tied up this young master, and even said that this young master was a good-for-nothing, and didn't take this young master seriously at all. His disciple even attacked this young master. Although this young master's status is not high, I wouldn't be unable to dodge the attack of a mere disciple. It's just that as an alchemist, I respect the rules of the Pill Pavilion, so I allowed the other party to attack, and didn't even resist. Now, what is the meaning of you helping this young master untie the ropes? Is it resolved with just a misunderstanding? Qin Chen's eyes were icy cold. Although this young master's status is humble and my alchemy skills are shallow, I can't be bullied so vaguely. I will report the matter here to my master, and report the affairs of the Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion to the Supervision Department of the Martial Domain Pill Pavilion headquarters, so as to thoroughly investigate whether there are any illegal or undisciplined things in this Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion. Qin Chen's expression was stern and his tone was cold. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the audience was dumbfounded. Is Qin Chen really asking for it? Their Pill Pavilion master personally came to untie him, and repeatedly said it was a misunderstanding, giving him so much face, yet he is still putting on airs. Who gave him the courage to do this? You must know that Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng is not only the Pavilion Master of the Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion, but it is rumored that his master's sect also has a significant position in the Northern Heaven Domain Pill Pavilion. It's just that he made a mistake in the past and was demoted to their Dewey Dynasty Pill Pavilion. When he took office, the Emperor of the Dewey Dynasty personally greeted him. How majestic. This kid is still putting on airs, unforgiving, what else does he want? If you anger Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng, believe it or not, he will slap you to death, and probably no one in the entire Dewey Dynasty will dare to speak for you. Also reporting to the Martial Domain Pill Pavilion headquarters, what is your status? A disciple from the 5 northwestern kingdoms probably doesn't even know where the Pill Pavilion headquarters is. Even Zhu Bo and others were sweating for Qin Chen. Although they didn't know why the Pavilion Master's attitude had changed so much, Qin Chen's airs were indeed a bit too much. If he makes a fool of himself and angers the Pavilion Master, the consequences will be unimaginable. It's just that what Zhu Bo and others didn't know was that while they thought Qin Chen was being excessive, Zhuo Qingfeng instantly broke out in a cold sweat after hearing what Qin Chen said. He couldn't be more clear about Qin Chen's alchemy talent. To be able to solve all the difficult problems left by the past Pavilion Masters in the Pill Pavilion's difficult stone wall in such a short period of time, what kind of alchemy attainment is this? Not to mention the master who guided Qin Chen in alchemy. If there was a peak medicine king, or even a medicine emperor expert, behind Qin Chen, Zhu Bo wouldn't be surprised. For such a top alchemist to report to the Pill Pavilion headquarters, it would definitely be an easy task. When the punishment comes down, the Pill Pavilion master, will inevitably be in deep trouble, and even his master's sect will not be able to protect him. This is not the most critical point. The most critical point is that Qin Chen has the strength to solve the problems on his body. Whether it is to protect his position or to solve the problems on his body, he must give Qin Chen an explanation today. Yes. Yes. This junior was reckless. Zhuo Qingfeng stood up, his heart icy cold, and looked coldly at Jin Yuan. Elder Jin Yuan, were you the one who insulted the Grandmaster as trash just now? Pavilion Master, misunderstanding, this is a misunderstanding, this subordinate. Elder Jin Yuan was already stunned. The development of the matter had completely exceeded his expectations. Misunderstanding. You caused me to offend the Grandmaster, and a misunderstanding will solve it. You even dared to insult the Grandmaster as trash. I think you are the trash, right? Zhuo Qingfeng's eyes were mori cold, and with a wave of his hand, come, take down Elder Jin Yuan, first strip him of his position as elder, and closet the Pill Pavilion Law Enforcement Hall for further decision. The alchemists of the Pill Pavilion in the audience were all dumbfounded. Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng is really unpredictable. He directly stripped Elder Zhu Bo of his position as elder before, and let Elder Jin Yuan take charge of the overall situation of the Pill Pavilion. How long has it been? In the blink of an eye, Elder Jin Yuan was removed from his position and closet the Law Enforcement Hall. If he really goes in, can he come out well? Everyone knows what kind of place the Law Enforcement Hall is. Elder Jin Yuan has been in the Pill Pavilion for so many years, and it is impossible for him not to have done anything for personal gain. Once he goes in, it is impossible for him to come out again. No. Pavilion Master, you can't do this. Jin Yuan's face changed, and he couldn't care about anything else. He pointed directly at Qin Chen anxiously and said, Pavilion Master, you must have been deceived by this kid. This child is named Qin Chen, just a small alchemist from the 5 northwestern kingdoms. How can he be a grandmaster? Saying that he is trash and an ant is not fabricated by this subordinate, it is simply the truth. Pavilion Master, you have been in seclusion for many years and do not understand the situation outside. You must have been deceived by this kid. It's okay. Let this subordinate come. This subordinate will definitely interrogate this kid well and explain how he deceived you, Pavilion Master. In desperation, Jin Yuan immediately rushed to Qin Chen and reached out to grab Qin Chen, while roaring, Boy, tell me quickly, how did you deceive the Pavilion Master? Confess honestly. Jin Yuan, stop. Zhuo Qingfeng was so frightened that his soul almost flew out when he saw Jin Yuan's actions. If he hurts his grandmaster, his hope of solving the problems on his body will probably be completely dashed, and he can forget about it for the rest of his life. In an instant, without even thinking, Zhuo Qingfeng slapped Jin Yuan directly in anger. Bang! What a big slap, directly slapped on the other side of Jin Yuan's face. This time, in desperation, Zhuo Qingfeng did not hold back at all. How terrifying is a half-step martial king slap? Jin Yuan was slapped and flew out dozens of meters, and fell to the ground in the hall with a bang, spitting blood from his mouth and nose, his mind completely stunned. Come on, why don't you take down Jin Yuan and imprison him? Are you all standing there looking for death? Zhuo Qingfeng roared angrily, but a cold sweat broke out on his body. Fortunately, he acted in time and didn't let Jin Yuan hurt the Grandmaster, otherwise the problem would be serious. This guy Jin Yuan is simply too arrogant. And you, were you the one who kicked Grandmaster Qin Chen just now? Turning his head, Zhuo Qingfeng looked at Yi Chen angrily. When has Yi Chen ever been looked at like this by the Pavilion Master? His legs softened, and a foul smell came. His crotch was wet, and he was scared to pee. Which leg did this son of a bitch use to kick Grandmaster Qin Chen? Just cripple it directly, and together with Jin Yuan, imprison them in the Law Enforcement Hall. If there is any resistance, kill them without mercy. A trace of disgust flashed in Zhuo Qingfeng's eyes, and he said angrily. Yes. At this time, the Hall Master of the Law Enforcement Hall also arrived after receiving the news. He was a middle-aged man with a black face and an iron face, and with a wave of his hand, he captured Elder Jin Yuan and Yi Chen, who was still a little dazed. Master Qin Chen, I bear some responsibility for your detention here. Rest assured, I will ensure you receive a proper explanation today. Approaching Qin Chen once more, Zhuo Qingfeng said respectfully. However, even if you are angry, Master, you must take care of your health. Staying crouched here for so long might injure your legs. As Zhuo Qingfeng spoke, he reached out to help Qin Chen up again, quickly untying him. Qin Chen glanced at Elder Jin Yuan, who was being held captive and whose face was almost unrecognizable. This time, he didn't stand on ceremony and allowed Zhuo Qingfeng to help him up. At the same time, the ropes binding him were immediately untied. Master, calm your anger. It's all because this junior didn't handle things well and offended you. I deserve to die. I deserve to die. Seeing that the ropes on Qin Chen were finally untied, Zhuo Qingfeng secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Then, glaring at Guzun beside him, he said coldly, "What are you still standing there for? Didn't you see that the master's robes are already dirty? Quickly fetch a new robe for the master to change into." Guzun's legs trembled, and he was so frustrated that he was about to cry. What kind of situation was this? He, a dignified steward of the pavilion, was being treated like a servant, ordered around, and even had to prepare new clothes for such a young man. If word got out, he would probably be laughed at. However, despite his inner turmoil, he dared not show any expression on his face. Yes, this subordinate will go and do it immediately. After responding panic lie, he hurried off to find new clothes. Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng, Elder Zhu Bo is a friend of mine. He was the one who vouched for my entry into the difficult stone wall. I wonder what Elder Zhu Bo has done to be detained here. Qin Chen frowned at Zhuo Qingfeng, loosening his wrists. Yes, it was this junior's oversight. With a jolt, Zhuo Qingfeng realized that Zhu Bo and the others were still being held captive. Immediately, he angrily scolded Li Feng and the others who were guarding Zhu Bo. Have you all not heard me? Quickly release Elder Zhu Bo and the others. You're all brain dead. Are you all idiots? Do you still want to work in the Pill Pavilion? If you don't, then get out. You have no brains at all. Zhuo Qingfeng was furious. He had heard that Elder Zhu Bo had recommended Qin Chen to enter the difficult stone wall. He had been so busy explaining to Qin Chen that he had neglected Zhu Bo and the others. Normally, Li Feng and the others should have realized this long ago and released them in time. Who knew that they were still holding Zhu Bo and the others tightly captive? He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. These guys were really too clueless, like wooden puppets. They were about to infuriate him to death. Elder Zhu Bo, I was unaware of the situation earlier and rashly dealt with you. I apologize here. It was my fault. Please don't take it to heart. After a scolding, Zhuo Qingfeng hurriedly stepped forward to personally untie Zhu Bo and the others. His attitude was as polite as could be. Pavilion Master, you're too kind. Seeing Zhuo Qingfeng's apologetic smile, Elder Zhu Bo had never enjoyed such treatment before. His legs weakened, as if he had seen a ghost. In the past, when he saw Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng, the latter was always extremely stern. Zhu Bo was always nervous and fearful, not even daring to breathe loudly. But now, Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng was personally untying him, and his polite attitude was too much for Zhu Bo's heart, which had just recovered from some injuries. It was about to explode. Pavilion Master, I'll do it myself, I'll do it myself. He hurriedly untied himself. This time, it was my fault for not understanding the situation and misunderstanding Elder Zhu Bo. It was my fault. Elder Zhu Bo, you don't need to be so polite. I am guilty. How could Zhuo Qingfeng let Zhu Bo untie himself? He even removed the ropes from Zhu Bo's body. After that, he personally untied the ropes from Xiao Ya and Zhu Zheng. The Pavilion Master is really untying them himself. Recalling what Qin Chen had said earlier, Xiao Ya's expression was dazed, and she felt that her brain was not working properly. Even now, she didn't understand why Pavilion Master's attitude towards Qin Chen had changed so drastically. She couldn't understand it at all. All right, there's nothing to see here. Disperse. Everyone disperse. Looking at the large crowd gathered around, Zhuo Qingfeng shouted coldly, and immediately, members of the Pill Pavilion began to drive the crowd away. Although they were also very curious about the change in Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng's attitude and wanted to know more about the situation. They didn't dare to openly confront the Pill Pavilion and had no choice but to disperse. Master Qin Chen, I made a mistake in understanding the situation earlier. Rest assured, I will give the master a proper explanation for this matter. If the master has time, why not come to my reception room for a chat? Zhuo Qingfeng hurriedly came to Qin Chen and invited him enthusiastically. Xiao Ya's expression was dazed. Although she didn't know what method Qin Chen had used, judging from the situation, Qin Chen had actually taken the initiative in the Pill Pavilion. However, throughout the entire process, although she had fully participated, she still didn't understand how Qin Chen had done it. I appreciate Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng's kindness, but I still have important matters to attend to. I won't stay any longer today. If the Pavilion Master has any questions, please contact Elder Zubo and Xiao Ya to communicate with me. Regarding today's matter, I hope the Pavilion Master will give me a proper explanation as soon as possible. Before the explanation is given, I will not submit this matter to the Pill Pavilion headquarters for the time being, but if a good explanation is not given, then that may not be the case. Cupping his hands, Qin Chen greeted Zhu Bo and the others again, and without saying anything else, he turned around with Xiao Ya and left the Pill Pavilion, not even giving Zhuo Qingfeng a chance to persuade him to stay. Looking at Qin Chen's departing figure, Zhuo Qingfeng wanted to persuade him to stay, but he didn't know how to speak, and could only watch helplessly as Qin Chen disappeared at the entrance of the Pill Pavilion. He felt extremely depressed. If it hadn't been for that incident earlier, why would Qin Chen be in such a hurry to leave? Just as he was racking his brains about how to build a relationship with Qin Chen again, Zhuo Qingfeng suddenly caught sight of Zhu Bo and the others beside him, and his eyes lit up. That's right. How could he have forgotten about this? He didn't have much of a relationship with Qin Chen, but Elder Zhu Bo was different. He was able to recommend Master Qin Chen to enter the difficult stone wall, so the relationship between the two must be extraordinary. As long as he built a good relationship with Elder Zhu Bo, then. With a thought, Zhuo Qingfeng immediately came to Zhu Bo with a smile and said with a smile, Elder Zhu Bo, I didn't expect my Pill Pavilion to have such an extraordinary elder. I have been in seclusion for many years and don't know much about the situation in the Pill Pavilion. If it weren't for this incident, I might not have discovered your strengths, Elder Zhu Bo. I'm ashamed. In this way, I wonder if Elder Zhu Bo is interested in coming to my office for a chat. Zhuo Qingfeng said with a smile, his eyes shining brightly. Since the Pavilion Master has invited me, how dare this subordinate refuse? Zhu Bo was flattered. Although he didn't understand why the Pavilion Master was treating him this way, he still said respectfully. After arriving at the office, Zhuo Qingfeng personally poured a cup of tea for Zhu Bo, making Zhu Bo feel like he was sitting on pins and needles, unable to bear it. In the past few years, he had only been to the Pavilion Master's office a few times. To be treated as a guest, arranged to sit down, and even have the Pavilion Master personally pour tea, this was a first. Ha, Elder Zhu Bo, don't be nervous. In these years, I, the old man, haven't managed the Pill Pavilion much, and I'm very grateful to you, Elder Zhu Bo, for sharing the burden for me. Zhuo Qingfeng began with polite greetings. Where? Elder Zhu Bo wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and said modestly, but his heart was extremely uncomfortable. He was not the kind of person who was good at socializing. For him, this kind of communication was even more uncomfortable than being scolded. All right, I won't ramble on. Let's get straight to the point. In these years, I haven't managed the Pill Pavilion much, and I'm not very interested in this aspect. However, the Pill Pavilion always needs someone to preside over it. Dragging on like this is very detrimental to the development of our Pill Pavilion, Zhuo Qingfeng sighed. Zhu Bo nodded in agreement. The truth was indeed so. In the past few years since Zhuo Qingfeng took office, he had been indifferent to the Pill Pavilion, basically not managing affairs, which led to a lot of chaos in the Pill Pavilion, with many elders fighting for power and profit, which indeed had a great impact on the Pill Pavilion's business. It was also in these few years that the strength of the Great Wei dynasty's Pill Pavilion plummeted. In terms of external pill sales, it was suppressed by the Leng family. The Leng family almost controlled more than 70% of the pill output in the imperial city, while the dignified pill pavilion only accounted for 20 to 30% of the market. Even within the pill pavilion, it had been infiltrated by the Leng family. Elder Jin Yuan had a secret agreement with the Leng family, and the two sides cooperated. If not for what happened today, once Elder Jin Yuan controlled the overall situation of the pill pavilion and cooperated with the Leng family would be able to monopolize the pill market of the Great Wei dynasty, and the pill pavilion would only be reduced to an affiliated force of the Leng family, working for the Leng family. This was something that was impossible to happen in other dynasties. If it spread out, it would probably be ridiculed by the world. Zhu Bo used to be in charge of many affairs of the pill pavilion. To be honest, the 20 to 30% of the pill market was also painstakingly fought for by him. If it weren't for him, the pill pavilion probably wouldn't even have 20 to 30% of the market. However, what was the pavilion master telling him this for now? Could it be that after today's events, the pavilion master was preparing to come out and preside over the work? Zhu Bo's face suddenly showed excitement. This was a good thing. With the pavilion master's attainments, if he wholeheartedly integrated the pill pavilion and assisted him from the side, Zhu Bo had the confidence to increase the pill pavilion's business from a weak 20 to 30% to at least 50% within a few years. After all, in terms of pill refining strength, no matter how strong the Leng family was, it was only a dynasty's wealthy family, and it was still incomparable to the pill pavilion. Just as he was guessing, he heard Zhuo Qingfeng say seriously, "I am not very interested in the affairs of the pill pavilion, but I have heard that Elder Zhu Bo has been in charge of many affairs of the pill pavilion in the past few years, and he has done a very good job. It's just that he fell ill a few days ago. Now I see that Elder Zhu Bo is in good condition. I wonder if he is interested in serving as the deputy pavilion master of the pill pavilion. In the future, he will preside over the work of the pill pavilion for me." What? Let me be the deputy pavilion master? Zhu Bo was stunned. He never expected this to happen. He hurriedly waved his hand. No, pavilion master, how can I be capable of presiding over the work of the pill pavilion? Absolutely not. Please, pavilion master, come out and strengthen our pill pavilion's reputation. The Great Wei dynasty's pill pavilion had not had a deputy pavilion master for many years. Zhu Bo never dared to think about letting him serve as the deputy pavilion master. Elder Zhu Bo is too modest. Although I don't manage the affairs of the pill pavilion, I'm not completely unaware of it. Elder Zhu Bo did a good job in the past few years. And don't worry, although I'm letting Elder Zhu Bo serve as the deputy pavilion master, I will also give my greatest support behind the scenes. With Elder Zhu Bo's ability, there is absolutely no problem. Zhuo Qingfeng waved his hand, extremely forcefully. There is no need to discuss this matter any further. Elder Zhu Bo only needs to consider how to preside over the work of the pill pavilion in the future. This. Zhu Bo was dizzy. At this moment, he didn't know what to say. The happiness came too suddenly, making him stunned. By the way, I wonder how much Elder Zhu Bo knows about Grandmaster Qin Chen. Turning the topic, Zhuo Qingfeng suddenly looked at Zhu Bo. Zhu Bo was stunned. At this time, he also recovered from his excitement. Feeling the expectant look in Pavilion Master Zhuo Qingfeng's eyes, he instantly understood where his position as Deputy Pavilion Master came from. In the end, it was still because of his benefactor. To be honest, Pavilion Master, I also met Grandmaster Qin Chen for the first time today. Moreover, if it weren't for the Grandmaster, I'm afraid my life would have been out of my control. Immediately, Zhu Bo told Zhuo Qingfeng everything about Qin Chen, as it was. In front of Zhuo Qingfeng, Zhu Bo didn't dare to hide anything. Moreover, Qin Chen's reputation was too great, and many forces in the entire imperial city were staring at him. The Pavilion Master could find out the news he said with just a little inquiry. What? Elder Jin Yuan actually colluded with the Leng family and poisoned you, Elder Zhu Bo. And that Grandmaster Qin Chen, he just destroyed the Feng family, a family under the Leng family. He's going to face the Leng family's revenge. No wonder Jin Yuan dared to treat Grandmaster Qin Chen like that before. There's actually such a thing going on here. What? Grandmaster Qin Chen was recommended by your disciples Xiao Ya and Mu Lengfeng, Elder Zhu Bo, to replace our Great Wei Dynasty's Pill Pavilion in the Pill Refiner Grand Competition. And the quota was stripped by Elder Jin Yuan. One piece of news after another came, and Zhuo Qingfeng was instantly stunned. Elder Zhu Bo, please tell me about the process of how Grandmaster Qin Chen detoxified you. Among them, Zhuo Qingfeng was most interested in the part where Qin Chen detoxified Zhu Bo. When he learned that Qin Chen used a long sword to perform the golden needle acupuncture technique, and in a short period of time, he removed 70 to 80% of the toxins from Zhu Bo's body, his whole body trembled with excitement. Heavenly silkworm bone dissolving powder, I've also heard of it. It's an extremely vicious poison mist. Grandmaster Qin Chen actually verified the poison on your body with just a simple deduction and removed it. Moreover, he also used a sword to perform golden needle acupuncture. What kind of pill refining cultivation is this? Zhuo Qingfeng's face flushed with excitement. Originally, he was still worried that Qin Chen might not have a way to solve his stubborn illness, but after hearing this, he immediately felt relieved. A person with such pill refining attainments, would he not be able to solve the problem on his body? Not know the acupoint nourishing method. Just thinking about it felt impossible. At the same time, Zhuo Qingfeng was even more certain that Qin Chen had a powerful pill refiner behind him.